Let's get nasty on a Thursday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Kerry Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 202. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Love having you in the show today. You can do so via the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. You can leave us a Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop via the 101 ESPN Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's mobile app. Or, of course, you could join our Snake Pit. That's our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN on YouTube.
Got to get it up.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Got to get it up.
Chew it and do it.
No doubt.
Chew it and do it.
No matter where you're at.
BlueChew.com.
Blues Penguins. Pre-game right here on 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock.
Anthony's already mad at us.
Blues. Hell no. I'm in a great mood today. The puck will drop at 7 o'clock from Enterprise Center, and that'll be on our Blues radio network. Let's start with our Blues. They go for 11 straight tonight. And there's a lot of different areas where the Blues have excelled. Carey, if I were to say to you, what has been the most impressive aspect about the Blues win streak? What would you say?
Well, I'll use a word that that Jim Montgomery has used, and we heard, I think, Braden Shin use it, selfless. Like, they're playing together. They're playing as a team. Jamie talked about it. Guys stepping in front of slap shots. Guys blocking shots and playing together, playing a full 60 minutes. I think one thing that, I don't know if all those tie in together, but just the sacrifice, the selflessness that they're playing with, I think that's been the catalyst for them to win these games and go on this win streak. Playing hard, not easing into the fight, as you would say, bringing the fight to the other teams, and literally at times bringing the fight to the other team, not standing around being spectators. Like I would have coaches say, why don't you just buy a ticket? You can buy a ticket for this game if you like. You're going to watch it. No, you're in it. Be in it. And I think that they're doing that from start to finish. And I think that's part of the reason why they're having such success right now.
You said buy a ticket?
Yeah, buy a ticket.
I used to grab teammates that were supposed to be, involved in the game, whatever. Yeah. And I go in the intermission or even after the game and say, hey, man, you owe me $20. Yeah, I'd be like, what are you talking about? No, you owe me $20.
Hey, you're watching the game.
Say, what are you talking about? Listen. You don't get to public skate for free.
Yeah.
you go to the rink down the road, you public skate, you got to pay.
Yeah.
And that's all you did tonight is public skate.
Yeah.
You did nothing else. Oh, yeah. Well, where was this fight 20 minutes ago? Like,
Don't have it now. Huh? Don't be mad now. Don't be angry and ready to fight now.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be mad when the opponent's flag is in the middle of the field. Start fighting then.
I got to a point where when I was with the Islanders, Gino Ojic, tough guy, I came off. I sat at the end of the second period. I walked over to his stall, and we were in like a bloodbath game. And he was like, took the day off, I guess, at that point. He had taken 2 periods off at that point. I walk over, I go, hey, Gino. He goes, I know, public skating. He went out in the third, ripped somebody's head off. I was like,
that's good. I
was like, thank you.
You provide a little motivation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Jamie? Most impressive. So, again, what we're talking about, the most impressive aspect of the Blues win streak. Kerry chose a good one in that everything's kind of falling in line for them because they're playing for each other. For
me, it's their commitment to defensive details. And that sounds like a lot. All it is being willing to work 100% every single time you're on the ice. Mm-hmm. The Blues are always on the defensive side of the puck. As far as, like, here are some numbers. I sent these to Marshy earlier. But right now, rush chances against during this 10-game win streak, they're first in the NHL. They're giving up 3.1 rush chances per game. That's it. So let's do this for fun.
Yeah.
2019, an 11-game win streak. Pretty impressive, right?
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here are some comparables. 11-game win streak, and we're only at 10 right now, hopefully 11 tonight. But here are the numbers. Goals against the Blues during that stretch were first in the NHL, giving up 1.45 goals a game. 2025, first in the NHL, giving up 1.4. So they're giving up less than 2019. Everybody remembers the epic run in 2019, right? Okay. Expected goals against. They were first in 2019 at 2.44. Now they're third right now in the NHL at 2.47. Slot shots against. They were first in 2019 with 11. They're first right now at 9.9. Rush chances against. In 2019, they were ninth with 5.7 per game. They're first with 3.1. So this stretch right now, this 10-game run is more impressive than the run in 2019.
Which is something.
Digest that for a minute. So when I talk about the defensive details, it's because they're going out every single shift and they're checking. They're not giving up. They're barely giving up any odd man rushes. Like, it's the way they're playing defense is phenomenal. So that to me is the biggest thing.
What about you, Marsh?
For me, speaking of defense, it's not having Colton Parayko. He hasn't even been a part of this win streak, which makes it that much more impressive
Are you saying we're better without him?
No, I'm not saying that.
Did he
That's
say
what I
that?
heard, Kerry.
No, I didn't
Marsh
say
is
that.
saying-
They can trade him, is what he said.
I can't trade him now, but they can send him down.
I think what Marsh is trying to say is that it's been even more impressive that they've accomplished this without one of their best players.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having my back. Unlike these two.
Why didn't you just say it like that?
Well,
It's
I think
weird.
I did. You guys just weren't listening.
It's weird how he came about and went around way about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, as you were, Marshy.
Well,
Sorry.
just, not having him, and I think we had a lot of question marks surrounding this team when he went down. Can they, because they were still playing good hockey at the time, can they continue to do so? And I think not having him almost kind of plays into them being a better defensive team because they have to play a little bit tighter defensively because you don't have your best guy out there. So when he does come back and you have the way that they're playing now, I think they're going to be a scary team in the playoffs because of, they've stepped up, right? It kind of reminds me of like, when you got your backup goalie in, maybe sometimes you play a little tighter because who knows, right? That's kind of how it
Look
is for
behind
me.
you, see who's in net, right? We got to do more tonight.
Better block some shots.
Not that the Blues have that problem because they have two excellent goaltenders, but
Yeah, I hear you on that one. All right. Jordan Kyrou, Cam Fowler, Pavel Buchnevich, Zach Bolduc, Dylan Holloway, Cam Fowler, Dylan Holloway, Jordan Kyrou, Dylan Holloway, Robert Thomas, Texier, Broberg, Bolduc, Thomas, Toropchenko, Walker, Bolduc, Sherwood. Oh, that was from Vancouver Studio. I'm like, who the hell is Sherwood? Bolduc, Tucker, Holloway, Broberg, Falk, Neighbors, Kyrou. These are all the guys that have scored for the Blues. It's a combination of players.
I thought that's who you were picking tonight for the
Anthony, you can't pick
Neighbors,
all of those
Holloway,
guys.
Shen, Pooch,
That's unfair.
Foxa against the Ducks, Shen, Neighbors, Kyrou. There's a lot of Kyroos, a lot of Holloways. But that's a wide mix of players that have been scoring for the Blues. We talk about your dudes having to be your dudes, but the secondary guys are scoring as well. And I know there's a lot that goes in. Those are just the goals.
Ever since our speech about the third liners,
Yeah,
guys,
they've
remember?
kind of they've
Seriously,
picked it up. Yep.
right when we talked about them, they all of a sudden their game just shifted.
We woke them up a little bit.
So that the list of players that I just went through are all the players that have scored over this 10-game winning streak. And again, there's a lot of Kyries, a lot of Holloways, but you're not just getting contributions from your top line. You're getting scoring contributions from all your lines. And I know it's cliched, but when you can mix all four lines, what an advantage you have, and what an advantage to give somebody like Jim Montgomery, who is somebody that can be strategic, especially at home when he gets last change. I really like what Carey said. I think that is the most impressive thing. The fact that this group has come together. You've got young players, and not only young players, but young players that are joining the team late in the year, that Montgomery's mixing those guys in. But everybody's fighting together. Everybody's playing together, and everybody's playing a playoff brand of hockey. I think that is the most important thing. If I were to go to number 2, I think it's the offensive scoring.
Well, and I also look at the team mentality overall. We go back to 2019, and I will forever say that the turning point for that whole cup run was the hand pass.
Yeah.
When the hand pass goal happened and the Blues, in the moment, obviously reacted, but then right away following that, I mean, the media was swarming down to the locker rooms. They're like, this is our soundbite. Nobody said a thing about it. They don't want to talk about it. It's irrelevant. Let's not worry about it. Let it go. It came out the very first shift, next game scored. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of team they're building here now. Look at all the things that we talked about. Like Jim Montgomery at one point said, they're kind of using all of this as like a chip on the shoulder, like the old Michael Jordan thing, right? They're even making up things to be upset about just so they go out and play. I feel like this team, even if the playoffs started tomorrow, and then for whatever reason they played Team X, and that team got up 2-0 in the series, I don't feel like this team would crumble. I feel like they'd come up swinging. Whereas start of the season, last season, those teams were done. Soon as adversity hit, it was like, well, that one's, we're done here.
Shoulder shrug,
Yep, all of
tails
it.
tucked.
And it's not the case now.
No.
We got a text from the 314, and this person is clearly correct. You guys don't know anything, and I would have to agree. The win streak is clearly because of Joe Boo.
It is.
Yeah.
We didn't give credit where credit is due.
Well,
our apology. I mean, if your eyes are lighting up in intermission,
I saw
In defense
Joe
of
Boo.
us, I don't know if it's Joe Boo or Yo Boo.
No,
I think it's Joe Boo.
So let me follow up on both of these things. One, I saw Joe Boo this morning at the rink. Paid my respects, of course.
Yeah.
Didn't touch him, didn't make full eye contact. We know how that works.
Pouring rum in his cup.
I didn't listen. I
kept
just
moving.
paid my respects.
Kept the feet
Okay,
moving?
we'll leave
Okay.
it at that.
All right.
And then I did see the originator of Yo Boo and asked him what the hell he's thinking. And Joey said, I don't know. He goes, I really don't know. He goes, it's like a glitch for me. He's like, every time I see it, I want to say Yo Boo. And he's like, I know it's Joe Boo, but he's like, I want to say Yo Boo. I'm like, he's like, I don't know why.
I feel for him.
Yeah, so
We've
he's-
all been there.
Joey's working his way through it.
Yeah. It's basically like having the
process.
yips. Like we get the yips sometimes.
That's a yips with a Y or a J.
Now, where
I
does
think it's the I think that would be the gyps.
Well, that's Joey.
Yeah.
where does Joe Boo sit on the team playing?
You know what? There's certain
I don't
things.
know.
There are certain things that are confidential.
Yeah.
One,
Fair.
I'm not part of the team, right?
Yeah.
I'm a part of the broadcast crew that flies with the team.
Right.
So if you want to ask questions about Joe Boo on the plane or anywhere else for that matter, you'll have to ask a team member because I'm sworn to secrecy.
It's fair.
That is very fair.
I don't even think
Well
he
done,
flies
Jamie.
with the team. I think he just appears. No? Listen.
I don't know.
You think he just appears and then
They
reappears?
leave him, and he finds his own way.
Well, how the hell did he get here to begin with, Marshy?
Exactly.
Nobody knows.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
players-
You're
The
asking
players have
questions.
said they walked in one morning and he was in a stall. That's it.
You don't ask questions?
He's like, how'd you
You come
get
in,
here?
you see Joe Boo there?
You're like,
Guys did ask questions. Nobody knows. They just left him. I said, okay, well, shit. I don't care. She's, you know,
Yeah.
what?
I'm with you on that. 100%. I'm not even asking questions.
I'm just
Joe
wondering.
Boo's here. Done.
popped up.
Popped up.
And pops up in every locker room as well. Like, who brought him? Nobody knows.
We know.
He got his own flight.
Yeah.
I do know that he is into the medicinal THC. That's for sure.
Is he? Sure.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, he's got a giant spliff, as the kids would call it. Yeah.
Do the kids call it that?
I don't know.
I think so.
In the
They
80s,
used to.
they did.
The 80s kids did. Yeah. It's Fastline on 101 to ESPN. Ivan Herrera popped 3 home runs yesterday in that win over the Angels. What are the options with Herrera right now? What are the options for the Cardinals, including just leaving him the hell alone and dealing with the defense as it comes or goes? That's next on 101 ESPN.
If you love sports betting, then choose the right app. And the right app is the Circus Sports Illinois app. Super easy to find. You can go on the website or the App Store and download it. It's very user-friendly. You can bet on your favorite teams and players with ease. It really is sports betting the way it should be. And you want to talk about odds? Let's talk about odds. Circus Sports Illinois, they have the best odds. You download any other app that's out there, check out the odds and the payouts, and you will find that Circus Sports has the best odds, therefore the best payouts, and that is obviously a great thing to have. They've got high betting limits. They got tight money line splits. They've got great lines on all their futures bets. If you're looking at something for tonight, Tampa Bay playing in Ottawa. Ottawa, the underdog, missing Brady Tkachuk as well. Tampa on the money line at minus 150. That's where I would be putting my money, and that's where I'll go, is Circa Sports Illinois, and put it right there. So please don't miss out on the action. Download Bet Like a Pro with your Circa Sports Illinois app today and join in on all the excitement. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
had a chance to play with him for a little bit in St. Louis my last year. This kid worked hard day in and day out, and you can see it, that he wants to be out there. But he has to, a guy like Yadier Molina in front of him, you know, that he has to wait for that, for him to retire. But happy for him, great day, you know, and good for him. Hopefully he can get this going in the season.
It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. That was Albert Pujols talking about Ivan Herrera, who hit 3 home runs yesterday. First time a catcher has done so for the St. Louis Cardinals in one game. Remarkable given the catchers that this organization has had. Ivan Herrera, not the best defender, although they do have him throwing from his knees now. They had him working on that yesterday.
How's that better? Now you get less power?
Well, probably less time.
But less
it's
power.
quicker time. Yeah, it's quicker from home to second.
Less
you
power,
can get the ball. Allegedly, maybe he's got a strong enough arm to get there. Maybe it's the getting up.
What?
Maybe it's the getting up.
No.
Yeah.
No, the kid's young.
Is he already on his knees though when he's throwing? Is he on his knees as he catching? Isn't he crouched down?
Yeah.
Talking about throwing from his knees.
But why would
Does
he go
down? Does he go from crouch to down?
Well,
if
his ball's sailing into center field,
if his balls are sailing, he's got a problem.
His ball is not sailing into center field. It's just not getting to second base.
Oh, it's getting there. It's just kind of rainbow.
The pop fly, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
straight,
It's just a drill to strengthen your arm.
I don't see how that works, but
Well, it's no legs. When you don't use your legs, you clearly got to use your arm.
Yeah.
You know, your strength, everything comes from the ground up.
just
So
miraculously is this going to get stronger?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
So if I just take slap shots from my knees but don't use my lower body, I'm going to get
your
a harder
upper
shot?
body's
Your
going to
upper
be
body.
strong as hell.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I don't know.
Man, who cares? He hit 3 home runs.
That's all
Yeah,
that
exactly.
matters.
It doesn't matter. Yep. Either way. Hey, what are the options? What are realistic options for the Cardinals with Ivan Herrera? Including, do you just let it ride out with the defense? You keep developing him behind the plate, and you hope at some point he doesn't become a massive liability behind the plate, and you just ride the offense.
Yeah, you deal with it. I think you've made a decision. Sometimes you have to sometimes being stubborn in your decision is a good thing. Sometimes it can be detrimental. But if he's hitting the ball as well as he is, you're going to have to live with it. Now, when they play teams like the Reds, or I think the Brewers were first or second in steals last year, I think the Nationals were first. Like, when you play those teams that decide to turn it into a track meet, good luck. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to hope that the pitchers can hold the runners on. You're going to have to hope that they can deliver the ball quickly to home plate to give him a chance, because if that lead is so big that they're almost halfway down to second base, by the time he gets it, it's going to be a wrap. And you just have to hope they don't turn it into a track meet when you play those teams that are really good at stealing bases.
Yeah, I just let the kid play. I said earlier, I'm all over the map with this catcher situation. There's so many different things that go through my head when I think of 3 catchers on the roster. But you talked about going with the youth movement. Mm-hmm. And why would you screw around with that? The kid hit 3 home runs. He's been knocking the cover off the ball. He hit well last year.
Yeah.
For that fact. And
Kid can hit, period.
And let him figure it out behind the plate. Or, if he can't, then find another spot for him.
Right. But now's the time. Now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Now's the time that you're early in the regular season. Okay, we're not talking about September. You're not talking certainly October. You're not even talking about the dog days of August. I mean, it's April. It's early on, and he hasn't made a lot of strides defensively. So you do it. The games still count, and you hope that you can ride this offense. And he's not a massive liability. But now's the time to do it. We're gonna have a conversation, Jamie. You're gonna be down at Enterprise, but Carey, you and I are gonna discuss whether or not the Cardinals plan to basically punt defense at certain spots. It's already paying off. Mm-hmm. I think it's fine in the regular season. You can really rely on your offense in the regular season. When it comes to postseason baseball, there's not a lot of teams that can ride their offense and still win a World Series, or ride their offense and still win a postseason. The pitching's better. The weather's colder. The series are shorter. You have to rely on your pitching and your defense. But right now, if you got a great offense, you can roll with it. So I think for leaving him just where he is and continuing to work defensively, I think it's fine. I also wouldn't mind seeing the Cardinals tinker around with having Pages be your catcher, Herrera, DH, and Contreras at first.
Oh no.
I don't.
The Bermuda Triangle of catchers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Why not?
Because I think you run into an issue where you're to me, you don't have a catcher on the bench, so that's an issue. If somebody does get hurt,
you
now
got one in the field.
You do, but whatever. Yeah, I don't like it. You just have to deal with.
Kerry,
you're
you
gonna
said
have
you
to,
want to sacrifice defense for offense, and now you don't like offense.
No, I love offense. I
But
played
then why
offense.
would you have those 2 guys in the lineup?
Because I don't want to sacrifice a catcher being all 3 of them guys being on the field at one time, and you're running into an issue where somebody gets hit by a bat or somebody gets hit by a ball.
So can't
and
you
now
move
they're
another
out.
guy over?
Do we? How many over under
For how long in the game?
Hold on, let me ask.
No,
I'm going to ask you
Okay, go ahead.
Over under.
Let him
15
talk.
Yeah, let me finish,
I
please.
let you finish my point.
I think I was talking.
He
No, you
was.
weren't.
I think I was.
You paused, and I jumped in.
Hey, I got this. As you were saying, Anthony.
Over under 12 games Wilson playing at catcher.
I don't care.
I'm asking because I think that
Under.
You're missing
under.
my point.
Yeah.
That's
You're missing-
that's the point that I'm making.
I know.
He's not going to play catcher. So if you put all 3 in the game at one time, you're going to have Brendan Donovan playing catcher if somebody gets hurt.
No.
So, Kerry, here's how it works, okay? how deep in the game are we? First, second, third
Fourth
inning?
inning.
Fourth inning? Great.
inning.
So we really only have 9 innings to worry about total in an ordinary game.
In a situation where somebody gets hurt. In a situation where Pages gets hurt.
You take Contreras, who's at first, you put him behind the dish. You don't lose your DH. You keep Herrera there.
Mm-hmm.
You finish out the game for 4 or 5 innings with a catcher who's played over 10 years in the majors as a catcher. And then the next game, Herrera goes back behind the plate.
Okay. What are you gaining in that? Because you're not only are you
Good
gaining,
catcher and 2 big bats.
but you're losing a bat. Because now either
Why am I losing
either
a bat?
because
But let's
Nolan
say-
Gorman isn't playing or Alec Burleson isn't playing.
If they're not hitting as good as Herrera and Contreras, who cares?
But let's say they are playing Cincinnati, because I thought you brought up a good point about if you play the Reds and L.A. De La Cruz are going to be standing at third every single time he
Every time.
walks.
He might be at home.
He will be home.
Right.
I'm coming home. I'll be there. I'll be back in a second.
I'll see you in a minute.
And Ivan Herrera, and as we know,
He's
Pedro
rushing all of a sudden.
Pedro Pages is not Yadier behind the plate, so it's not like you're trying to control the run game as much as possible. If you are playing Cincinnati, but you don't want to take Ivan Herrera's bat out of the lineup, well, that's a possibility. Now, if he gets hurt, you got to alter things, and then the very next day, Herrera's going to have to be.
And you still
your
got the
catcher behind
same
plate.
issue that you had to begin with.
I know,
so what difference does it make?
But that's only assuming, of course, that Pedro Pages gets hurt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think you can make it work for a game.
Yeah. And if somebody gets hurt, for the half a game or whatever, you just switch him up.
Yeah.
Contreras, even though he'll play less than 12 games at catcher, he may not even play 5 games at catcher. He hasn't forgot how to be a catcher for 5 innings.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's worst case scenario. Go ahead, Marcia. I'm sorry.
Are we trying? What are we trying to do here? Because isn't this season about trying to figure out what these players can do?
Oh, you got to win, Marsh.
Yeah, I understand that, but
but
if you put him at DH, you're, like we said earlier, you're taking away at bats from people.
But Ivan Herrera, you don't want to take the bat out of the lineup, right?
100%.
Can we all wait?
So you
do
wanna-
not take Ivan Herrera out of the lineup.
Basically,
on
do not
3,
take him
right?
out.
Okay, say aye.
Aye.
Basically, you're taking Burleson or Gorman out of the lineup if you do that.
Okay, but I'm keeping Herrera's bat in the lineup
But that
while
goes against
improving
the
at catcher.
purpose. That goes against the what we thought
Yes.
was the purpose of to get 600, 500 at bats for Nolan Gorman.
Herrera, too.
Herrera's not going to catch 162
Herrera
games.
is playing
I'm talking
every day, regardless of
Right.
whatever. But you're essentially telling me you're not giving Nolan Gorman an opportunity, or you're not going to give Alec Burleson an
that
opportunity.
day. I'm not. No, I'm not talking about doing this for.
So when they play the
100,
Reds, when they
150
play the
games.
Brewers, when they play the Nationals, when they play any team, when they play the Dodgers, when they play teams that can steal bases, what is that, 50 games, 40 games? When they play those teams, Herrera is DH and Pages is your
I'm saying it's a possibility. I'm saying it's an
and
option.
that's how many at bats?
But
200?
Pages was going to get
100?
those games in.
Kerry,
Pages is still going
how old
to
is Ivan
catch
Herrera?
40 or 50 games.
How old is
25.
Herrera?
I think he's 25.
Okay. He needs at-bats, too.
I'm not arguing that.
But that's what you're
But so
worried
did
about.
Nolan Gorman is
You're worried about
24.
Burleson and Gorman. Well, so does Herrera.
Those guys have the possibility to be just as good at the plate compared to Herrera,
Have
though.
they been as consistent? Because if you
Nolan
go
Gorman's 4 for 8 right now.
overall, Herrera's consistency during his short period of time has been way better.
Okay, but
Sure.
Marsh, but you're sacrificing something at some point.
You're right.
You
What are
have
you
to-
going to
you're-
sacrifice? Are you going
right.
to sacrifice
Sacrifice
steals?
the defense then.
Are you going to sacrifice Nolan Gorman and Alec Burleson getting playing time? Because that's what
Guys.
you already are limited in opportunities in players that can play in the field.
I think the one big thing that you guys seem to be missing is that Pages is going to start 40 or 50 games regardless of.
Absolutely.
But he's not going to start with all 3 of them in the game, is what I'm saying.
Why not?
Because why would you?
'Cause I don't want to take Herrera's bat out.
You're not going to have all 3 of those guys in the game 40 times a year, is what we're saying. If Pages is starting, it's probably because Herrera has a day off, or Wilson Contreras has a day off, and you put Alec Burleson at first base, and you put Herrera as the DH. So what we're saying is
an option.
Correct, but what we're saying is they're not going to be 40 games where all 3 of those guys are going to be in the lineup.
I agree.
That's ridiculous.
Right. I agree. I think what I came up with an option, and you guys decided that.
Well, your option sounded, you and Jamie sounded like you're going to start those guys 40, 50
I
games
said
a
it
year.
was an
Like, they don't
option.
matter at all. Like
I
Nolan
said it
Gorman
was
and
an
Alec
option.
Burleson.
Herrera's
That's his option. That's what he said.
I understand the option. I like
appreciate
the
it.
option.
I need clarity.
We've tried, Kerry.
Break it down like I'm 5.
We've tried.
You know, sometimes you go to work and you take different routes.
No, I take the same damn route. I'm a creature of habit. I go the same damn way every day. Jamie knows. That's why he cut me off.
I did.
Do you eat the same thing every day?
Yes, in the morning, every single day, I eat oatmeal.
Anthony, this is
and
why
egg
he's
whites.
unwilling to see our option.
I'm stubborn as hell.
He doesn't
I
like
am-
change.
I don't.
I presented an option. Gary's like, you can't do that every game. I'm like, no, it's not every game. You can't do that all 50 of those games.
Jamie made it seem like he doesn't care about Nolan Gorman or
that's
Alec
what I feel.
Burleson
No, he didn't
compared to
even bring up
Herrera.
Gorman.
No, I said Herrera needs at bats too. That's
I
all.
understand that, but the way that you presented it, Carey and I were a little confused.
Well, I
This
was
side-
confused because if you've got Burley or Gorman, who, yes, they're hitting right now, right? But let's fast forward 20 games in and Gorman's going through a slump or Burley's not hitting the ball, and you got a choice of Burleson or Herrera as your DH, and you're going with the 3 catchers for that game, or a slumping other player. He's a young player, too, who needs at-bats, and if he's batting better, I'd go with him.
Well, obviously.
Well, that's all I said, and you got all mad.
Okay, hey guys, let's come together on this, okay? Let's
yeah,
not.
I know Carey
Let's
doesn't
not.
like
Hey,
doing
we're a
Come on,
team.
Carey.
Come
We're
on,
a
Carey,
team. We're not.
Gary, give
Put
me
them
your hand.
together. Put your
Come on.
fingers together.
Come on, Carey.
Give me your hand. I'll do it with you.
Yeah. Somehow that's better. I don't know.
That felt really weird. I'm not gonna lie. That felt really weird.
Guys,
Although
hey,
he has
listen.
amazingly soft hands.
We're a team. Let's not turn
Must
on each other.
moisturize.
All right, let's not turn on each other. You two are a problem. It's fast. I don't want. Has this season been Robert Thomas's coming out party? It's kind of weird to say.
Sorry.
What's that? Which one am I looking at?
No, it's gone now.
Oh, you
Carey and I
guys,
were.
the replay was on the screen.
It's like, oh no.
We'll talk about Robert Thomas next on 101 ESPN. When you drive out to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum after looking at their selection on AutoCentersNissan.com, you're going to find the vehicle that you saw online. That's one of the beauty parts of working with Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. They've got over 800 new and used vehicles there, so you're bound to find your next new Nissan, or maybe you're looking at a pre-owned vehicle, and they don't just have pre-owned Nissan vehicles. They have different makes, different models, and it's all in one location, too. So 800 new and used vehicles all in one spot. So you're not driving around different counties or being told that, well, you know, that car, yeah, technically we own it, but it's actually in Idaho right now, and we have to drive it in. Not at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. They got one massive location just minutes from South County. No scavenger hunt required. Forget overpaying. These vehicles are priced to move. Plus, on new Nissans, you're going to get the complimentary lifetime warranty and 30-day return promise. That's a serious peace of mind that you won't find anywhere else. Auto Centers Nissan. Big inventory, bigger savings, zero nonsense.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues go for 11 wins in a row tonight as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. You can listen to that game right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We will talk with Chris Kerber at 3:15, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to dive into your Blues. Robert Thomas having a great stretch run here as of recent. We'll discuss him and whether or not he could get some Selke votes. That's coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Has this season been Robert Thomas's coming out party? I don't know if I'm willing to jump to that. I think this is what we expect Robert Thomas to be when he's healthy. When he wasn't healthy coming off the injury, I think we all asked, is he healthy? But I don't know if I could say this is a coming out party for Robert Thomas. Jamie, what about you?
Tough to say because if you go back to 23-24, Robert Thomas had 86 points in 82 games, and he currently has 69 points in 64 games. So pretty much essentially the same season. Mm-hmm. He was plus 18 this year, was plus 9 in 23-24. Now in 23-24, he had 26 goals. He only has 19, but of course that was in 82 games. So I don't necessarily think it's a coming out party. Here's the problem with sometimes the National Hockey League, and I said this last year when Robert Thomas was having that year. I said he should get Selke Trophy votes, but he won't because the NHL is always like, oh, you got to prove it to me more than just 1 year. Yeah, he was the best, one of the best defensive forwards in all the NHL, but it was only 1 year.
Yeah.
Do it again. Well, he's doing it again. No. So now the second year, now everybody's like, oh, is this a coming out party? No, he was here last year. You just weren't willing to acknowledge that he was an elite two-way forward.
Sure.
And now you are. So for me, it's not a coming out party for Robert Thomas. For me, it's another great season for Robert Thomas, who's showing the hockey world now that he is one of the best 200-foot players in the NHL.
So this is Jeremy Rutherford on Twitter. Since February 1st, Robert Thomas has played in 24 games. He has at least 1 point in 21 games, multiple points in 8 games. NHL rankings during that span. He's number 1 in assists with 26, tied with Kucherov. Number 2 in points with 33, again behind Kucherov. And number 3 in plus-minus with plus 17. It's a 3-way tie in that statistical category. So what JR's doing is he's pointing out an outstanding stretch by Thomas. I think we have seen other excellent stretches, maybe not to this level, but again, I think to your point, Jamie, Robert Thomas's game has always been on display. It's just now we're seeing it, and he is in the midst of an unconscious streak right now.
Yeah, and he's also and let's go back a couple of years when the Blues had their big 11-game winning streak. Robert Thomas was an accent piece. Mm-hmm. Played on the third line with Pat Maroon and Tyler Bozak. Now he's the star of the show. But I shouldn't say that. He's one of the stars because, let's be honest, Jordan Binnington's star is probably shining brighter than everybody with the St. Louis Blues because of the Four Nations tournament. So nationally, internationally, Jordan Binnington, probably a bigger name, who's also playing well, by the way. Third star of the month in the NHL for Jordan Binnington was announced yesterday. But I just think that Robert Thomas is doing exactly what he did last year. He's just got more pieces around him to help, too. He's not alone on an island. There are times last year when Booch, Carey, and Thomas, if they weren't scoring, the Blues were screwed. Mm-hmm. Well, now, and I do think this is a benefit to all of the skilled players, you have 2 really good lines that are scoring, which helps. When you spread it out like that, it spreads out the coverage from other teams through the matchups. Some nights you get a tough matchup, some nights it's not as tough. And when your third line can throw in some goals too, the matchups even get a little more wonky.
Yeah.
So I think if people want to say this is a coming out party for him, great. I think it's just Robert Thomas playing the way he can, and I still think he has another level to him.
So the Selke Award is for the forward that shows the best defensive part of the game.
Kerry, this award has gotten confused.
So I was going to ask you the same thing with the Norris Award. It's for the best defenseman, but it depends on how many points you have.
Yeah.
So is it really just about the defensive aspect? Because for me, if you're saying it's a breakout season, I would assume that player, if he had played all 82 games, is a 100-point season type of player.
It projects right now to be like a 92, 93
But
point
in order
player.
to be a Selke Award winner, because they do add the offensive component into it, you need to be up around 100.
I'd have to go back and do my research, but I don't know at what point the NHL, the Norris Trophy and the Selke Trophy became awards that have guys that score a lot of points. As well as defend, but more points. But when Erik Karlsson wins a Norris Trophy because he has over 100 points, but he can't defend to save his life, there's a problem.
You're
for
backwards.
Me. It's backwards. Now, Patrice Bergeron, who owned the Selke Trophy for I don't even know how many years, 6 years or something like that, 5, 6 years, he displayed both. He got the tough matchups every night, defended, played a good 200-foot game, was an exceptional player on the offensive side and the power play as well. That I'm okay with. But we go back to like the early 90s, late 80s, Guy Carbonneau was a Blue for a short period of time here with me, but he was winning the Selke Trophy and he was scoring like 8 goals a year, 10 goals a year, but he was so exceptional defensively that's why they had the award for a guy that played good defense as a forward. Somehow it's gotten all kind of mixed up and points now are sexier, but either way, it's a guy, a forward that can defend and play against the other team's top lines at the same time while producing points himself.
Well, since we're on the topic, here's Mike Kelly of the NHL Network. He was on with BK and Ferrario, and he says that Thomas should get some Selke votes.
Oh, he's on board now, huh?
I was having this discussion with somebody yesterday who was asking, they vote on the awards and was asking about Selke Trophy stuff, and they didn't have Robert Thomas on the list. And I said, have you thought about Robert Thomas? And he said, oh, that's a good one. I could look a little more into that. I think, and again, I haven't gotten all the way to the end of awards research or anything like that, but I would have Thomas, voters fill out a top 5 ballot, and the top 3 are named finalists and somebody wins. I would have Robert Thomas as top 5 for the Selke right now, I think for sure. And I drill down deeper to see if I would have him top 3. I haven't gone that far yet, but I'm glad that obviously the people in St. Louis are knowledgeable fans, and I'm sure they see it. And I'm hoping that more people around the league notice that as well. It's not just the defensive; it's the whole thing. Like you said, he puts up a ton of points. He's a star center. Like you can win with him as a number 1 center. I don't have any doubt about that.
Well, to me, the biggest thing that he said was right at the end, that he's a number 1 center and you can win with him as your number 1 center. That to me tells me more. And as far as the Selke Trophy and all that, now Mike Kelly, I razzed him earlier, but he does a phenomenal job. If you go look at some of his things on Twitter, the analytics and the digging that he does, he's exceptional at his job. He's just a year late with his Selke Trophy prediction. We all were talking about it last year on this very show that Robert Thomas should at least get some votes. I think he should win it, probably not, and I agree with Mike. I think he's top 5 right now. We'll see what happens ultimately, but it's tough when the writers don't see you enough or they don't know enough about you. That's why it's problematic for me. Is they should have writers in regions. Because the New York writers, their votes are going to carry weight for Eastern teams. Western teams got and then you get other teams that you never see. Or not enough, anyways.
So basically, he's Amzinger.
Yes.
Stealing our takes.
He stole our take.
Nope, I wrote that down. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Cardinals did something yesterday that I feel is being overlooked. And if we're going to complain about the Cardinals not doing it, we should highlight when they do. Is this the style of offense we've all been waiting for? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry Davis, and if you are in need of new windows, then look no further. Window Nation has you covered. You can replace your old, drafty windows with energy-efficient ones from Window Nation. Those windows are built to protect your home with top-quality insulation and seals, and Window Nation has some of the best insulated windows you can buy. And right now, if you buy 4, you get 4 free. You could get 0 interest or 0 payments for 2 years, pay nothing until 2027, and get a free entry door if you buy a house of windows. All you need to do is reach out to them at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. You can save money every month on heating and cooling all year long. And Window Nation has a 96% customer satisfaction rate, and that window can be installed in 1 day. And Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty. So hurry, the sale ends soon. Again, that's 4 windows free with every 4 you buy. 0 interest, 0 payments for 2 years, and pay nothing until 2027. Reach out to them today, 866-90-NATION, or visit them online at windownation.com.
Yesterday during the 8th inning, and this kind of got overshadowed because Ivan Herrera had the 3 home runs, and the Cardinals looked like they were going to give that game away. Then they rallied back, so there was a lot of exciting stuff there. But I thought it was overlooked that the Cardinals laid down 2 bunts back-to-back in that.
Yeah, they did.
In that bottom of the 8th.
Whitey ball.
Absolutely. Victor Scott did it for a hit. Mason Wynn was trying to just move the runners over, but because of his speed, he was able to get on first, too. So if we're going to complain about the Cardinals not playing that fundamental style of baseball, the style of baseball that we have become accustomed to in St. Louis, then we need to highlight it when it happens. And I think this style, which is basically just using all the tools that you have in your toolbox. I mean, that's all it is. It's not necessarily a style. But being able to move runners over, being able to bunt for hits, and being able to drive the ball out of the yard. That's all been on display.
What's the bunt?
Oh, it happened yesterday. Back-to-back situation. See the
cake.
Yeah.
It's a small
Bunt
cake.
cake. Oh, okay, I've seen those.
No, those are good, but what I'm referring to is the play in baseball where
I haven't
you
seen
take
that
the bat
here
and see a lot of people they
square it up?
love to move the bat up. You're not supposed to move the bat up and down. You're supposed to move the legs up and down.
Yeah.
And square it up and down like an elevator.
You should wrap your hand around the head of the bat, too, and try to...
No, don't
No?
do that. No.
No?
No.
That's
Because
not
when
how you
that
do
pitch
it?
comes in, you could break fingers.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. It softens
behind it.
That way it doesn't hit the bat as hard.
No, Jamie. No, you're basically
So I've
begging
been doing
to...
it wrong for all these years?
Yeah.
So is that what happened to my...
Yes. I'm looking at your pinky right now. I can see you've been bunting a lot.
Yeah, I'm really good at it.
Your finger looks like Isaac Bruce's.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Jeez.
Beautiful.
It is nice. It's beautiful.
Good for
Mine isn't
scratching your
that
ear.
I
bad.
see that.
Mine got a little bend to it. It doesn't
He do.
straighten all the way.
No,
Yeah.
he's got
It's
little-
not as bad as yours.
You've got that torpedo bat
Yeah,
going there.
yeah.
I've got the shrimp
broke that,
cocktail.
yeah.
You do.
Broke that and never healed properly.
Anyways,
You can hardly
guys.
tell, Kerry.
Good times.
No, I'm talking about bunting in baseball.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
that here for a while.
This is the
Since the
style.
80s.
Okay.
Or yesterday.
Sorry. Go ahead.
This is all what we wanted, right? Out of this Cardinals offense. I mean, it's been on display here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's Brant Brown. I don't know if it's the players buying in. I don't know if it's Ollie. I don't know if it's some combination of all of that. And I'm sure that's the more likely answer. But the players need to buy into this approach, and they have.
Yeah.
And they have the freedom to do so.
So here's my thoughts on it. One, yes. The answer is yes. Should they be doing it more often? If I got a weapon or two weapons like Mason Wynn and Victor Scott who are so fast, when I see a shift that's a little egregious or somebody, we're laying the bunt down because the odds of that guy getting to the ball and getting you out are slim and none. And even though Victor Scott is hitting the ball pretty good right now, I'd mix in a bunt one every 2 games just to keep teams on their heels, man.
Right.
You know, why not? Use it as an advantage for you. But here's what I really think is baseball, and Carey brought it up, the 80s and, you know, the small ball and all that stuff, move the runner over, the bunt, all these beautiful things that Cardinals fans especially loved about the Whitey Herzog era. What kind of went away? It went all the way to the power now. Home run or strikeout. And the universe always finds a way to continue balancing itself. And I think the first team that zigs while everybody's zagging and goes back to playing a version of small ball will have the most success. That way you're utilizing all of your players in the correct way. You're not asking Victor Scott to hit 30 home runs. You're not having Mason Wynn swinging for the fences. All the things we disliked about where Colton Wong's game ended up, Matt Carpenter's game ended up, all that stuff. I think if the Cardinals are smart and they've got the boppers, let them bop. Alec Burleson, Gorman, Arenado, Contreras, you guys, you can touch seats, man. Mm-hmm. But the guys who aren't regular seat touchers, we're going to be back to fundamental baseball. We'll put the ball in play, and that's a couple things I've heard from several Cardinals players. We're just putting the ball in play. We're letting the ball do the work.
Yeah.
I think the teams who have talent, too, that figure out the balance of playing offense that way, I think those teams will have more success.
I was listening. I don't know what I was listening to earlier, but I was on the way in. They were talking about one thing we haven't heard, and I don't know if you've heard it. I haven't heard it. Anything about launch angle. I haven't heard anybody speak about, the launch angle isn't correct. How about just make contact? It's hard enough to hit a ball, right? If you're making contact and hitting the ball hard, eventually it's going to go out of the park. We heard all last year, the year before, Jordan Walker's only hitting the ball on the ground. Well, he didn't hit one when he hit it to dead center. He smoked it. He's been hitting the ball on the ground. That was his first extra base hit, but he's been hitting the ball, making contact, and eventually you're going to get a ball that's middle, and you're going to be able to drive it somewhere because were you the one that said it yesterday, the hitters don't hit home runs, pitchers throw home runs? I heard that as well. I don't know. I just
Brad,
hear,
maybe? Maybe
it was BT.
Was BT
I don't know. I hear random things. I don't know.
Andrew
where it
Brandt?
comes from.
What did he say?
Someone said it.
Andrew Brandt probably said it. Yeah.
Someone said it. But pitchers
Boy, that's an old reference.
Pitchers
Man.
throw home runs. Hitters don't hit home runs.
Okay.
Right, because you're throwing the ball somewhere that they can drive it and they can hit it, and eventually when you get a pitch that you like, you drive it somewhere that it doesn't come back.
It kind of works with what I always repeat with what Dunk said. and I'm using it now too. Even like I'm helping coach Madeline's softball team. I'm like, you can't put a good swing on a bad pitch, ladies. Let's go.
Yeah, but coach, you're the one throwing it.
I was the other day too. Halfway through, I'm like, don't swing. That's terrible. No, yeah, you're right. So it's interesting, but I always think that the launch angle thing is just a description of what's going on, not necessarily something that they need to work on.
Well, they literally said he needed to improve his launch angle.
If he's going to put the ball, but I think, and Carey, maybe you're not thinking this, but I think that when people hear launch angle, they think, well, it's going to be a technique. It's going to be, hey, we have to dip the shoulder.
That's what I think most people assume, and I think that even at that level, you may feel like, well, if I have to hit the ball up, I have to hit under.
Right.
Like I have to swing at a different trajectory than I have been, but you just hit the ball.
Right.
And eventually a pitch will be left in a spot that you can drive it, and you can drive it out of the park or into the gaps. And I think right now what you're seeing from this team is all of those things. I think it is a bit of some of the selfless thing that we talked about with the Blues as well, because hitters don't want to bunt. Why? Because you don't get paid to bunt. You don't get paid millions of dollars. You don't get $700 million. Juan Soto ain't getting $700 million if he's laying down 50 bunts a year. He's getting $700 million because he's driving the ball out of the park. People want to be paid for their services, and there's not a lot of payment going on for guys that sacrifice bunt their teammate over to third base with one out. Right? So
Matt Holliday's all about baseball, and he literally said that. He goes, yeah, I'm not bunting.
Why the hell? Why?
I don't get paid. I don't get paid to bunt. He did. He was on our show. He said it.
I know.
And it speaks to what you're talking about, CD. All right, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What's the best way to build a sustainable winning organization? This is kind of a loaded question, but we've got some backstory to this. It's next on 101 ESPN. Jamie, I know I'm preaching to the choir on this, but I had an opportunity to call Stewie, our guy Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation, a couple of days ago. I said, hey, listen, my wife and I are trying to gather some information here. Maybe there's a home we might be interested in, and, you know, what do you think? He said, all right, no problem. I'll walk you through it. The man was so quick, so efficient, and the way he explained things was so easy. All right, here's your options. And he didn't overwhelm me. He didn't talk down to me. Stewie is incredible. Whether you're looking for a loan, whether you want to refi, whether you don't know if now's the time to refi, whether or not you just want to know where the rates are heading, Stewie's got to be your first call.
Yeah, he is. And look, it's no secret. Everybody has their own unique situation. And if we're talking about purchasing a home and getting a loan to purchase said home, we all have warts. There's something that's going on, whether maybe you're self-employed and you don't show that you make enough income, or maybe you and your wife make too much income. Whatever it is, Stewie's got you covered. He's going to make sure that you get yourself into the beautiful home that you want and to the closing table. That's what he did for me, and that's what he's done for several 101 ESPN listeners. And all you have to do, it's really easy. Call his personal cell phone number. That number is 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
He will call you back. He'll text you back. And once you get started with Stewie, it is the easiest process you're ever going to experience. So please give him a call. And if you can't remember that number, Anthony, what can they do?
You can always Google the Bagel Loan.
NMLS number 226715.
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Andrew Marsh, Kerry Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be down at the Centene Community Ice Center for Puck Cancer second shift. It's a charity hockey game. I combine charity and hockey there to get Harity. Charity hockey game this Friday.
Things could get Harity.
You never know.
Well, we remember the last time we were there. You combined a couple words
I
together.
certainly
You
did.
sure did, Anthony.
People got excited too.
They did. Why wouldn't they?
You can tune in this Friday, tomorrow, to hear the Fastlane broadcast live. I've never seen Kerry Davis laugh that hard. Live from 2 to 6 from the E&B Granite Studio. Tickets are now on sale for the second annual Puck Cancer second shift alumni game. See the St. Louis Blues alumni like Jamie face off against the Chicago Blackhawks alumni like Chris Chelios, who we talked to yesterday, in a rivalry game in support of the Siteman Cancer Center and the V Foundation for Cancer Research. So great cause. You can grab your tickets now for tomorrow night's game. Support those two great organizations, and then tune in pregame with us in the Fast Lane via the E&B Granite Studio at Centene Community Ice Center. Doug Armstrong was on BK and Ferrario yesterday, and one of the things he was talking about is something that leads into our question about what is the best way to build a sustainable winning organization. So here's Army on the Blues and their pack mentality.
It's only because that's how we believe you build a winning sustainable organization. Now, maybe if we went the other way and had 50 points a year for 5 or 6 years and found some superstars, I'd look at it differently, but we don't want to do that. That's not a mandate that our ownership group believes in. They want to stay competitive, and they're trusting us to get creative and do different things that can keep us competitive. I rely so much on our pro scouts and our amateur scouts and development. That's where we have to be at our best, and these guys do a really good job. But that's how I believe you build a winning franchise or build a winning organization, and it's paid dividends for us so far. And again, I just think that's that's the enjoyable way to do it, because when you see. You started. We're talking about the character the guys have in their room with them now. Like it's fun. It's fun to be around guys like that believe in the pack. They believe in the team, and they want to join and grow together. And that's how we're built. I think Alex Steen implemented that when he got here from Toronto back in around 2010. And I assume that when I move on and he takes control, his beliefs and my beliefs, I think, are very similar in that way. That you have a much likelier outcome to have success if you do it as a team.
Again, that was Doug Armstrong, who was on BK and Ferrario yesterday. This kind of goes back to the question of what is the best way to build a sustainable winning organization? Is it through that pack mentality, and that you need a bunch of players to maybe come in? It might take a little bit longer, but they kind of grow together, and then you add pieces here and there, such as Cam Fowler, right? Or is it just best to get the top-end talent and sacrifice some of your depth? For me, I think you could do it one of both ways. But what do you guys think? You do it both ways.
Yeah, you can clearly do it both ways. I mean, look at the Colorado Avalanche. Let's just isolate that for a minute. They were awful. I mean, historically awful. And they ended up getting Gabriel Landeskog, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar. But they had to go through lots of pain year after year after year.
Right.
And same with the Chicago Blackhawks. They had a period of time, too, where they were awful, just like they are now. They did it before their epic 10-year run that they had or whatever. They went through exactly what they're going through right now. I don't know if I have an appetite for that. And I don't know if the St. Louis market has an appetite for that. Like, Blues fans are passionate, and they're dedicated. There's no doubt. But dedication has its limits, too. Mm-hmm. Like, when you go to the rink night after night after night knowing your team's going to lose, I don't know if I really want to be at the rink. After a while, you're like, no, I'll just watch it on TV. I'm not spending $100 on a ticket or whatever the price is for your family. We'll just sit at home and watch them lose. So I don't know if our market here could sustain that. And I don't know if I want to watch it either happen. So the way Army did it is actually the harder way to do it. One way, when you just stink, that pains your heart, okay? But it's not all that hard to be a terrible team.
Right.
You just as a GM, you just get the worst players and wait till you get your draft picks.
I would think it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy to lose, right? But the way Army did it with this retool, it looked at first, following last season, like, okay, we may have to tear it down. Because that retool is not working. The Kapanen, Verana, Kevin Hayes, those experiments were not working. Then I think this is the turning point. And I know it is. When Army decided to get bold and offer sheet Holloway and Broberg, he picked up 2 top 10 draft choices in one swoop. So the team didn't have to suck for 2 years in a row to get a top 10 pick. They didn't have to. They just went and stole them from another team who'd already developed them, played them in the minors, and then had them play in the Stanley Cup playoffs all the way to Game 7 in the final, and then took them from them. That is what changed the trajectory of this team. And I think based upon that, when they were playing early in the season, Army had the chance to add a Cam Fowler. He said, you know what? I'm going to add Cam Fowler. Mm-hmm. And boom, look where you're at now. Bolduc is playing good. Snugger, we're going to get another look at him tonight. You know, who knows what Snuggy's got in store for us. But we do know that Dvorsky's going to be a player. Thomas, Kyrou, Neighbors. Like, go down the list. That is what changed everything.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the pack mentality when you don't have that superstar or 1A, 1B type of player, and it makes sense to have that mentality when a lot of the players are relatively equal to one another in terms of talent. And I agree, Jamie. I think it is, for me, it's much better than, because when you do draft high, you don't necessarily know if that player is going to be a superstar. Sure. You hope that player hits, but it could backfire. That person could not make it to the level that you need them to for your franchise to have the future success that you need. So going about it the way that the Blues have, I think, has been spectacular because, like you said, you get 2 guys that were top draft picks for another organization, had already gone through the build up and learning how to played in meaningful playoff games, have had success, didn't get the amount of time that they probably wanted, but they get here and now they're getting all of the minutes that their hearts can desire, right? And they're doing everything that they need.
So we got text here from a 314 says, what are the Blues going to do in the next 2 to 4 years? They can't afford everyone. Actually, they can. And here's why they can. When I go through the list of young players that the Blues have, so let's go Dvorsky, Snuggerud, Bolduc. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have to pay those guys. Like, you have to pay them a couple million, but you're not going to have to give them $8 to $10 million. They're good rookie contracts. And we know how that works in baseball. The more rookies you have, the greater amount you can spend in other places or save money, however you want to look at it. And then you've got Neighbors, who's locked in for another couple of years at like 2-point-some million. Mm-hmm. So that's another one. And you'll have, at some point, you'll have Lindstein come in, and he's going to be a $900,000 a year. You're going to have 6 or 7 players that are under $2 million and under. So then when you have and this is why I think it's imperative to lock up Holloway and Broberg for 8 times 8, because when the cap goes up, you're gonna have some more cap space. And when you add younger players, so next year when Dvorsky and Snuggerud are on your roster, that will take 2 higher priced players probably out of your lineup. Yeah. Because they're going to play top 6, top 9. And if that's the case, then you got to take a $2 or $3 million player out, or trade him, or whatever you do with them, or not re-sign them. And now you're adding a $900,000 player. Mm-hmm. So you're gaining cap space there. So I think over the next 2 to 4 years, the Blues are fine. Where I worry is 5 to 6 years from now. The Blackhawks theory. Like once you win, and then you've got to pay your young guys. That's when the walls started to tumble down around the Blackhawks.
Sure.
They had to get rid of Bufflin. They had to get rid of Patrick Sharp.
That's what happens typically in a lot of sports too.
It is. So I think for now they're fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We'll keep this Blues conversation going with our guy Chris Kerber, who will be next here in the Fastlane on 101 ESPN.
When it comes time to sell your home, you're going to need a reliable, experienced, and trusted real estate agent. And there is nobody better in the business than my friend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria Liu has been in the business for well over 20 years, and she has seen it all and done it all, and which is why you need to trust her to sell your home. She understands the market right now, and people talk about interest rates dropping. I mean, it's going to heat up again. And if you don't have your house priced the right way, you can sit on the market, and then you're reducing price and the house looks bad and then you don't get sold and then you end up taking less money. Avoid the headaches. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. She is the best in the business, and she also has thousands of buyers in her database that she's going to generate towards your listing. More showings, maybe more offers, hopefully more money, but again, getting you to the closing table with the amount of money that you're looking for your home. So again, call Gloria Liu. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. Her number, 314-325-6888, or you can always visit her at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Hey, but my house got cooler because the weather outside was cooler. My wife had the air conditioner on yesterday, which is just fine with me. And I thought, gee, should I turn it off and put the heat on today? I'm like, no, I'm going to let it get a little bit colder. But this is that time of year where you're switching from your heat to your air conditioner. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. But you've got it, so why not use it? Now, here's the thing. Make sure it's running and make sure it's in good shape, all right? That's what the folks at Classic Air Care do. They're coming out to my house. They're going to do a spring check, make sure that the air conditioner is ready to go for the summer. Look, this is really important, especially if you are out of your manufacturer warranty. This is how you keep that great piece of machinery that is critical to the comfort of your home up and running for a long time. And these things can last a long time. Now, look, if they break, Classic Air Care has the experts, so some with over 40 years of experience, to fix any unit out there and make sure that it's running. Get a hold of Classic Air Care today. Call them at or online at classicaircare.com. You can pick up the phone and give them a call. Get them out to your house and make sure that your house is comfortable. Classic Air Care, making people comfortable since 1926.
the Blues will go for 11 straight. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6. Puck drops at 7. We're going to join our guy Chris Kerber right now via the Collier and Thompson phone line. Kerbs, how you feeling?
Guys, I am feeling spectacularly. How are you guys?
Good. We're doing good ourselves, especially with the Blues coming off 10 straight wins. They look fantastic. We had this conversation earlier in the show, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts as well. What has been the most impressive aspect to you about this win streak? If you could only choose one.
Well, to me, it's these last few games where they've proven that they've been able to put an 11-game win streak, whether it was scoring 4 more goals in the first 7 straight, right? Or basically being held to 2 or fewer in the last 3 and finding ways to win games 2-1 or 3-2. So one thing that gets you really excited is when a team starts to learn how to win, and I do believe it is a learning process. Once they start to learn how to win, the next step is do you learn how to win different ways and with different aspects of your game. And it was a couple of games ago, Jim Montgomery, I thought his line was telling. And his line, it's the kind of line that should scare other teams. And he goes, we weren't anywhere near our best today, and the guys found a way to win. And that, to me, is when you're starting to make some strides.
Hey, Curtis, Robert Thomas is having one hell of a season here again for the Blues. You know, finally hearing a little bit of noise that he might be in the Selke Trophy discussion. What are your feelings about Robert Thompson? Do you think he deserves to be in that talk?
I think he absolutely does. I think that injury he had this year really slowed him down. I imagine he was extraordinarily disappointed with not being part of that Four Nations tournament. And I know he had his sights set on that. So put all that together, Jamie, and I'm not surprised it was a small lull to his season. But, man, as he come back out of this break on absolute fire. And I don't know if you agree with me or not on this. I thought starting last year, you started to see some things that say, look, within a couple of years, he's going to get into Selke conversations. As you know, that's such a reputation award as much as anything right now. So you got to find a way to, how do I break in? And obviously letting Patrice Bergeron retire is a good thing. But how do I get in on the Barkov, right? When people are telling me that Barkov, again, is a leading candidate for that this year, I'm looking at some of the numbers going, I'm not so sure about it, right? So to me, for Robert Thomas, the fact that he's in the discussion, I thought the start of the season he was a clear-cut piece of that discussion. And I think this year, if you see Robert Thomas and getting votes somewhere in the top 5 or 6 for that award, that's a great step in the direction for him. But I have no doubt in my mind that at some point in time, he's going to become a perennial candidate for the Selke Trophy if he continues this kind of play.
Curbs, Jimmy Snuggerud made his debut a couple of nights ago against the Red Wings. What did you make of his performance and that he's getting another opportunity tonight?
Well, I think kind of go backwards with your question there. I think you got to give him a chance here, and I know it's really tough. I know it's hard because nobody deserved to come out of the lineup the way this team was playing, right? But you've got to find out what you've got here. You know, do you have a guy that could slide into a top 6 potentially come playoff time if somebody gets hurt, if somebody gets knocked down? You want him to get a few games under his belt in case he's needed here. So I think getting him back in, and let's be honest, the cushion that the St. Louis Blues have given themselves is what's making this possible. So that's a good thing there. In terms of what to make it, look, I don't think he made many mistakes. In my opinion, he seemed to get into the right spot. You definitely saw that shot, once or twice. So I thought it's just a good NHL debut. I learned a long time ago that I never put much stock or worry too much about game one of anybody's career.
Chris Kerber,
just get through it, right? I mean, I can't imagine the nerves and the emotion and everything that goes into playing that first game when you guys put all the work that you did to become pro athletes. Like, it's just amazing to me.
No doubt. Chris Kerber joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Kerbs, can you pinpoint a moment or a game in which you felt as though that this Blues team started to really gel? I mean, you watch every game, you're calling most of the games, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, something feels different right now. Is there a moment?
I don't know that. Actually, I'd say I think there is a moment there, but truthfully, the whole thing, like all season long, I don't know if Jamie's felt this too. You go in that locker room, and even when the team was struggling in October and parts of November and parts of December and even parts of January, there was never you never felt the lack of confidence. You never felt a real worry, and you didn't see clickiness. You still felt cohesiveness, and you're like, this team actually has a care for each other, despite the losing that is good. I mean, look, at this point, I think, there's one clear-cut moment that turned things for the St. Louis Blues, and that was the coaching change. It was bringing in somebody that had the swagger that Jim Montgomery had, because, look, you're still relying on some veteran players, especially on the defensive end. This wasn't a young team that we got to get a bunch of young guys going and teach them how to play. You had a pretty good amount of veteran players, especially on the back end. And somehow Jim Montgomery's connected with all of them. And I think that did they turn it around in that moment? No, but that's just a clear defining moment of this season for me.
Kerb's getting a little ahead of things here, of course, with the playoff matchups, but this has become a topic of discussion on many social media sites and whatnot, Blues fans talking. I don't really have an opinion of it, really, but just I guess we'll put it out in the universe. If you had your choice, if the Blues can make the playoffs, if you had your choice, would you rather go through the Central Division playoff matchups or the Pacific Division matchups?
Man, that's such a great topic, isn't it? First off, I think by my math, if the Blues were to only win 2 of their final 6 games, it would still basically mean that the only chance for Calgary and Vancouver is they'd have to win all but one of theirs. All right, so I'm liking the Blues' chances right now. Wow. Okay, so my initial line for this, Jamie, is something like somebody says, pick your poison. Either way, you're still picking a poison, right?
True.
It's just whether it's rat or cockroach, and I don't know. But I actually think if you make me pick one, I would say the Pacific, where I do believe the hardest round might be round 1 against the Vegas Golden Knights, and because I think the Blues match up well against LA, they've proven they could play with them. I think the Blues have the depth, and they clearly have the goaltending, and have shown they can play with the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas has a big defensive core. Vegas's experience, swagger, big defensive core. This guy named Jack Eichel kind of makes me nervous. And you're going, how the hell does a Draisaitl and McDavid McDavid and Draisaitl still make me nervous, right? But their goaltending and their defense does not. In the Central Division, man, you got a slightly smaller defense with Winnipeg, but you've got Dallas going in there. You've got Colorado. If I got to pick one or the other, and you're making me say it, I think I'll go Pacific, and then take my chances in round 1 with Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. I'm of the same belief, buddy. And the Blues' record this year against Pacific Division teams is really good, too.
Yeah, the fun part about that topic and that discussion is that, and the other thing is, too, is if you're going to, there's a clear difference this year in the Eastern and Western Conference if you're a top seed playing a wild card team, right? Nobody wants that wild card spot, either one of them in the East. So Ottawa's pretty firmly in there. To me, honestly, yes, would it be a surprise if St. Louis or Minnesota went on a run to a Stanley Cup final? Yes, because I don't know that anybody anticipated it. But if you look at the way they played in the regular season and you look at how they're playing right now, I mean, I don't know that anybody could sit there and say they'd be surprised with any team out of the 8 in the West that are in a spot right now making a run to the Stanley Cup final. And if you do say that, I think you're almost being disingenuous to some of the teams. I just think the West is that much of a juggernaut.
Yeah, well said, Kerbs. We appreciate you. Hope you're doing well, and we will chat with you again next week.
All right, guys. Have an awesome one.
You too. Thanks. That's Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, right here on the Blues Radio Network, 101 ESPN. Blues and Penguins tonight, pregame at 6 o'clock, puck drop at 7. Is Brant Brown the secret weapon to the Cardinals' retool? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues go for their 11th straight victory tonight on home ice. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We just talked with Chris Kerber. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our full shows there, and of course, all of our interviews. It's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
We know all of our hitters' strengths. We know how they tunnel or how they look for pitches. So then when someone comes in, we'll discuss what the pitch mix is and the velos and the characteristics. And then basically we're trying to hit to their strengths or how they look at it. And it's pretty simple. It's like, hey, he does this, this, and this, but what do you want to do? And they're convicted, they state it, and we go out and execute it.
Brant Brown, that was the new Cardinals hitting coach on finding the hitter's strengths, and that audio courtesy of KMOV.
Wait a minute. Hold on, because I got to process this. Mm-hmm. You're telling me, this is what you're saying, this is what the coach is saying. Mm-hmm. What you do well, we're gonna focus on that?
That's correct.
It's a crazy new concept.
Who the hell would ever do something like that?
Not us, that's for sure.
Why would you do what works well for you?
One way. We're all the same. All of us. Same background, same size, same everything. All right? We're going to do it one way.
That's crazy. It's crazy talk, Anthony.
Yeah. Here, I will say this before we praise Brant Brown and the offense. The offense has looked great to start the season. No complaints, zero complaints. I know that Mason Wynn got off to a slower start and Contreras has got off to a slow, but other than that, man, you're nitpicking at this point by this offense. I will say this, gentlemen. If the Cardinals combined for about 5 runs in the first 6 games, and Brant Brown said that exact same thing, we'd be like, what does this guy know? He's a fast lane idiot. We would be criticizing the results so far, small sample size, but the results are there. However, I do love the idea of finding what Jamie does best and Carey does best and Marshy does best and I do best, highlighting those strengths and playing to those strengths. It sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like winning baseball.
Well, we just dumb it down is putting players in a position to succeed. So if you take a hockey team and you've got a Nathan Walker, you're putting him in a position to succeed by putting him with 2 like-minded players who play the same way. That's how you end up with that line that's been so consistent and so good for you. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Snuggerud, you're putting him in a place to succeed, playing him with skilled players, putting him on the power play. You're not putting Jimmy Snuggerud on the 4th line, telling him to go run guys for the boards.
Right.
Just as you're not asking Radek Faksa to quarterback your power play.
Yeah.
Like,
he doesn't have the skill set, folks.
But he has certain skill sets, so maximize those.
Right.
And that's what Brant Brown is talking about here is certain guys are going to be able to touch seats more often than others. And the strategy for those guys will probably be, hey, swing away here. But the guys who can't, or the guys who are not regular at that, maybe the approach is different. Or maybe the situation in the game will call for Wilson Contreras, instead of swinging for the seats, to put it in play in right field to move the runners around. It's rudimentary baseball, but we're finally hearing it again.
Right, which is good, to say the least. Here's Brant Brown on Nolan Gorman again, this audio courtesy of KMOV.
Talking this off season, right? Had him come over to the house, kind of showed him who he was as a hitter, kind of got his expectations, right? Kind of bucketed that together, and then we got to work, and we worked a lot, right? Because he lives right down the street. Whether it was at D-Bat or at his house, like we hit almost every single day. We tried to challenge him in his work. We also talked about, okay, like we started with a leg kick. Okay, if this doesn't work, what are we going to do next? Offering plan A's and plan B's. But because of that, right, like that's what I expect out of our hitters, right, is success. Now, it's not always going to be that way. But at the same time, it's like we have to compartmentalize our at-bats and our failures to try to reintroduce success to those failures, because we do it so much, and like we have to do the little things and expect the little things and not get too caught up in the negative aspect, because it just happens in hitting.
I want to go back to what he said about sitting down with Nolan Gorman and kind of going over like, hey, this is the hitter you are. And I could just picture them sitting down and, hey, this is you striking out. We're gonna need you to hit the ball. Let's go. And then they go to work. But the thing that I found interesting there was Brant Brown talking about, the high leg kick. He's like, well, should we put that in place? Carey, you and I were watching Ivan Herrera, and then we were going back and watching guys like Bonds and Griffey. Herrera, the way he loads, he actually has a big high front kick, and it's just part of his load. It's the way he gets to his backside. The key with Herrera is that his pitch recognition is outstanding. He hit a home run off. Who was it yesterday? Was it Kikuchi?
Yes.
So he hit 187, and then later on he faced a reliever that was throwing 93. But he was able to get his front leg down in time so his backside could fire. But if you watch Bonds has a very small step. His hands are quick. His hands actually went down first, which is typically something you don't want, because eventually they have to go back anyways to hit. But Bonds was so quick with his hands that he could
Why do you think he was so quick with his hands, Anthony?
He's one of the best baseball players ever, Jamie.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, one of the greatest to ever do it.
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr., short stride as well. His hands never went back, and he really didn't have much of a load. It was just this sweet, compact swing. Actually, it was a lengthy swing, I should say. And the way he did it was just calm. The point is, those were three different players. Three different players. All different front sides, all different ways that they load. This is what Brant Brown has to deal with when he's working with these players. So I love the fact that the Cardinals have found somebody that the players seemingly like, they trust, and he's able to find what their strengths are, because there is no cookie-cutter approach to hitting.
Marshy, write that down. Herrera's going to hit somewhere between 600 and 755 home runs.
Yes.
Write that down. That's what.
He'll eclipse 70 one season.
Clearly. Yep. Thanks for that, Anthony.
I like your thinking, Anthony.
I love it.
He's going to need some help, I think, to do that.
What?
He already has help. He's got a great hitting coach.
What help are you referring to?
That the help that I'm talking about has to come externally than internally.
Torpedo bat. Okay.
That's not a bad idea,
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I don't know if I want that internally, though.
Yeah, that's a good call.
He said
Teach their own, though, Carey.
What I said was it's external, then internal. Comes from outside, then within.
Carey's right.
However you got to get it, man. You do your thing,
Well said.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. John the Snake Pit has turned this. I don't know how to make. I don't know how to make hitting not sound sexual in nature. Like at some point, you're basically gonna say a term or a word it's gonna ignite some laughs. Yeah. Know what I mean, Jamie?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. People should grow up.
It's coming from you. All is well right now, Brant Brown. Keep up the great work. And if the Cardinals stop hitting, it'll be your fault. Jamie's keys to the game and Light the Left next on 101 ESPN. Blues host the Penguins. Pre-game at 6, puck drop at 7, and Jamie, before he heads out to cover the game for FanDuel Sports Network, will tell us his keys to victory.
Actually, first, guys, before we get to that, last time we were in, I think it was in Pittsburgh. Yeah, it was. We talked about penguins, naturally. Joey Vitale played for the Penguins. We talked about penguins, and we talked about the zoo. And Joey, well, I'll just ask you this. You guys have been inside the penguin house at the zoo, right?
Yeah, it smells really good.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I'm headed. So, do you like the smell of the penguin house?
I do not, sir.
No, but it is a distinct smell that, like, I don't know how to describe it.
You know you're alive?
I don't hate
Would you
it.
purposely go in there to smell the penguin house?
No.
Okay.
I'd rather smell gasoline.
Carey?
No, I'm okay.
All right. So Joey Vitale had a take that he loves the smell of the penguin house. And he thought there'd be several Blues players that would like it too. So we started our own little survey. What? And we went in and asked multiple, and everybody did the same thing.
Got choked up.
They're like, what the hell are you talking about? So anyways, we got derailed there a little bit, but we're hearing penguins.
Yeah.
Got me back on that. So Joey Vitale with a couple of speed bumps. This week.
You know, Joe is uniquely himself.
Absolutely.
And that is
He stood
a
by
high
it, too.
compliment I could give to anybody.
He dug his heels in.
Yeah.
Loves to smell the penguin house.
Good for him.
He's like Danny DeVito from Batman, hanging out with all the penguins.
Yes.
Right.
I said to him, if you love the smell of that, I got a jar of farts for you. I can give you later. If he wants it, Anthony.
Are those free like the zoo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, do you have those like waiting, or do you?
Although I could put them on Only Farts.
Oh, gosh.
Sell them. No?
That sounds awful.
And now we listen to Jamie give you the keys to victory tonight for the Blues after making those comments.
So, last time the Blues played the Penguins.
Now take me serious.
That was pretty G, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Anyways, last time the Blues played the Penguins, they completely outplayed them. Jordan Binnington had a bad night, had a tough night, and that cost them the game. But one thing that they did not capitalize on at all was the juicy rebounds that Juicy Saros kicks them.
I see what you did there.
Tristan Jarry. Sorry, Juicy Saros. Tristan Jarry.
You wanted that pairing so bad.
Now I got sidetracked with Juicy, and then all of a sudden I said Juicy Saros. I don't know, Anthony, what goes on here sometimes.
Yep.
Tristan Jarry was kicking out pucks left and right to the middle of the ice, and the Blues were not getting players to that said ice. So tonight, first key is shots on net. Second key is bodies to the net. And they do that, they'll get at least one or two rebound goals tonight on Tristan Jarry. Another one that I think is imperative for the Blues, stay physical. Whenever they play these knockdown, drag them out games, they're in the game's exciting, nobody takes a shift off. It's that playoff style of hockey that you can't sit there and not be a part of it. And so I think staying physical is one thing. Obviously, you have to be aware of Sidney Crosby. Last time you played him, you shut him down pretty good, but he's still one of the best players in the game. You should probably keep an eye on him as much as possible. Offensive zone time, need more of that. Last game, they didn't get any sustained time in the Red Wing zone. And that made for a game that was way more even than it probably should have been based on the shots on goal. And then flip side of that, protect your goalie tonight. So those are my keys to the game.
All right, there you have it. Let's light the lamp.
And a couple of guys can really shoot the puck.
Shooter! I must confess you scored first.
Well, who was the first person?
Breakaway! Shoots! Score! We got hockey to learn.
All right, how badly is CD beating us right now?
He's still up by 8. No one scored the other night. For us, at least.
Damn Binnington.
They didn't even try. All right, Carey.
Excuse me. I get choked up a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the guy I've been going with for a while. Give me Dylan Holloway.
Yeah. He's a pretty good player.
Oh, good.
Had a chance.
For you.
Yeah, a lot of chance.
Had a little chance.
I'm going to go with former Penguin Oscar Sundqvist.
Wow.
I think maybe one goes off his shin pad tonight and in the back of the net. Or maybe he gets a deflection.
Well, since he's off the power play, it might be tough.
It's all right.
But you never know.
I like your narrative, though. I do. You're sticking with the stereotype.
Oh, boy. See? It's catching.
The story and stereotype. The stereotype. All right.
The storyline or the narrative.
I like stereotype.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm Joel Hofer.
You're just going for the win.
I mean, I got to try and get back in this thing somehow.
Yeah, give me Cairo. I'm just going to beat Jamie and call it a season.
Until Hofer scores tonight.
And then I'm done. And then I'm done.
This would be the night that Joel Hofer scores.
Yeah.
It's kind of got the makings of it, you know? The 11-game win streak. They're up by 2-3-1 late in the game. Joel Hofer knocks down a puck, fires it down the ice. Enterprise Center collapses because people go crazy.
Whoa.
Not collapses. You know, nobody got hurt, though.
No, it's like
Well, let's just.
Yeah, whoa.
the crowd just
Okay,
goes
how about
crazy.
it felt like it was going to collapse?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the building was shaking.
Yes.
That excited. My question is, what does his text message look like after Joel Hofer scores this?
No
empty net
text
goal?
message. You won't even answer ours. He's so mad.
I typically will answer. A lot of curse words. Or there'll be some passive aggressiveness.
Or GIF.
Or a GIF. I
Is
do
it
like
GIF or GIF?
Well,
GIF.
It's supposed to be GIF.
I do like.
No, I think it's supposed to be GIF.
GIF Smith.
GIF Smith.
I think it's GIF
Head
Smith.
coach of your Chargers.
Was he the Chargers?
Who the hell is this guy? Yeah, he's the interim. GIF Smith. What the? Carey and I have watched a lot of football. Neither of us heard of that
I didn't
guy.
even know the guy existed.
Yeah, same. No, I probably go with knowing me, some hyperbole, some passive aggressiveness, and probably a curse word. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll definitely respond, Jamie. May take me a couple hours, but I will.
And a couple of makers.
Couple of makers.
Or
Absolutely.
Blanton.
Or Blanton.
Oh, yeah.
Hi-oh. All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
You have yourself a great call tonight.
I hope so.
What was your? So we all hear. What was your bet the board? So we
Nathan
don't.
McKinnon.
To your words, we don't fast lane you tonight.
Nathan McKinnon, power play point against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
There
Taking
you
the
have it.
over.
Okay.
So
So
0.5, I'm taking the over.
that'll be Jamie's selection. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got the Gauntlet next.
Well, talking about E&B Granite, how about calling them if you're looking to remodel your kitchen, your bathroom, or those outdoor living spaces? E&B Granite, they offer an extensive selection of unbelievable countertops. They've got granite, they've got soapstone, marble, you name it. They've got it on site, too. It's not some little sample you have to look at. You can go into the back, walk through all of the countertops, and pick what you love. They've also got great cabinets and affordable cabinets. So if you're working within a budget, don't worry. E&B Granite has something of very high quality that will fit your budget. And they've got flooring that cater to diverse tastes and all sorts of different colors and patterns that will guarantee that you're happy with your living space, whether it's your kitchen, your bathroom, or that outdoor space. And let's not forget that the in-house design staff are awesome. They helped me completely remodel my kitchen, and I didn't know anything about remodeling a kitchen. Didn't have to. They took care of me, held my hand throughout the entire process, and I want you to get that same exact customer service. So please give them a call. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number 314-645-9300. Again, that's 314-645-9300, or you can always visit enbgranite.com.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
It's Fastline on 101 ESPN. 4 o'clock, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Andrew Marsh and Kerry Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Jake to the Gauntlet. What's up, Jake?
How's it going, boys?
Doing great, man. How about you?
Just another day. I didn't die at the game yesterday, and it was another great game.
Hey, huge. Excellent. Good. That's just good to hear. All right, Jake, would you like to take on Marsh, Carey, or me in the Gauntlet?
Well, I've already done this once or twice before. Marsh is off the table. So it's between you and CD. I need you, Anthony. I need you to look at CD right now.
Yeah.
I need you to apologize to him.
Oh. Carey?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Stop trying to trade off your trash from the Falcons and putting it on CD.
Whoa! Jake! From the top rope.
That you feel that way. What trash?
Who's your quarterback right now?
Michael Penix.
Mm.
The white guy? CD can have him. They don't have a quarterback. Are you a Steelers fan?
No, I'm not, but I'm just tired of hearing you trying to double them off on CD and Marsh.
Okay, you're right. Jake, who's your football team?
Whoever's on my fantasy team.
There you go.
That's a good call.
All right. If you were to root for an NFL team, who would that be?
Not the Falcons.
Not the Falcons.
Not the Falcons. All right.
Smart man. Nah, I played for the Falcons. We had a good team.
Jake, I hope that you get Kirk Cousins on your fantasy team because you fell asleep during the league and you had no other options and you're in a deep league and you said, you know what? I have to go with Kirk Cousins now.
No, it's auto draft.
It's auto draft. And Yahoo fell asleep. And you get Kirk Cousins.
I want you to think about that for a second when you sit in the penalty box.
Oh,
go ahead and go to the corner.
You choosing me, Jake? Huh? You choosing me?
You talking to me, man?
Are you going to the cone of silence yet?
Well, now we know why he didn't play me. He would have smoked me.
All right. Anthony is heading to the cone of silence. Jake, tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Please spin that wheel, Marsh.
All right, Jake, you know how this goes. If you answer the question correctly, once you get the category, you get 2 points. If you answer it correctly with the options, you get 1 point. And if you answer incorrectly, you get 0 points. Jake, Marshy, tell him what his category is.
Jake, you said you were at the baseball game yesterday. How's baseball sound today?
Absolutely fabulous.
All right. Well, here we go. Marshy's handing me the questions. All right, Jake, here we go. In the mid-'90s, the Mets' Generation K featured Jason Isringhausen, Bill Pulsifer, and who else?
This one I'm going to need the options on. I was only probably about 10 by the time that time came around.
All right, is it Paul Wilson, Steve Avery, or Mike Hampton?
Steve Avery, final answer.
Question number 2. Veteran righty Kyle Gibson is returning to the Baltimore Orioles. But last season, how many games did Gibby win for the Redbirds?
I'm going to go with 12. Final answer.
All right, question number 3. Name the school that took home the 2024 Men's College World Series title after defeating Texas A&M.
I'm going to need the options for that one.
Is it LSU, Ole Miss, or Tennessee?
LSU. Final answer.
Question number 4. Before rescuing the Cardinals at the 2000 trade deadline, Will Clark helped guide a different organization to the postseason in the 1990s. Name that club.
San Francisco Giants. Final answer.
All right, we'll get Anthony back in here. How you feel?
Better than Anthony does right now.
Oh. Well, Anthony came back. He was kind of smoking when he walked past me. He didn't say much. He didn't smile. He hasn't looked. He's looking at me now, and he's got a glare on him that I've only seen one time, and that's when Kirk Cousins was performing the way that he was during the season. Anthony, how's the cone of silence?
Let's be fair. It was the 28-3 that was really glaring for him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was so drunk that night it didn't matter.
Cone of silence was great?
Yeah.
Was it silent?
T-Bone. T-Bone was in there. Mike Ryder. They were talking radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I was just observing, trying to lock in here.
Mm-hmm. Anthony?
Yeah.
Your category today, if you could choose a category, what would you choose?
Hockey.
Well, it's baseball.
Okay.
Marcy, tell me.
Pack a lunch.
All right. In the mid-'90s, the Mets' Generation K featured Jason Isringhausen, Bill Pulsifer, and who else?
Can you say that again?
Pulsifer.
Yeah, Pulsifer.
In the mid-'90s, the Mets' Generation K featured Jason Isringhausen, Bill Pulsifer, and who else?
Options.
Is it Steve Avery, Paul Wilson, or Mike Hampton?
I'll go with the outlier. I'll go with Paul Wilson. Final answer.
Question number 2. Veteran righty Kyle Gibson is returning to the Baltimore Orioles. But last season, how many games did Gibby win for the Redbirds?
Under 10, higher than 5. I think. I'll take the options.
Options are 8, 10, or 11.
All right, well, based on my knowledge there, or my guess, I'll say 8. Final answer.
Question number 3. Name the school that took home the 2024 Men's College World Series title after defeating Texas A&M.
So it was last year, last season's, last year, had to be.
2024 Men's World Series title.
That would have been Tennessee. Final answer.
Question number 4. Before rescuing the Cardinals at the 2000 trade deadline, Will Clark helped guide a different organization to the postseason in the 1990s. Name that club.
The team right before the Cardinals? Right before he joined the Cardinals?
Before rescuing the Cardinals at the 2000 trade deadline, Will Clark helped guide a different organization to the postseason in the 90s. 1990s. Name that club.
Well, it would have been multiple clubs. It'd be, they're Giants, Orioles, Rangers. But the team he joined right after the Giants would have been the Rangers. And I think the Rangers made the playoffs. I'll go with the Rangers based on how the question is worded. Rangers, final answer. That was the team he joined. That was the team he was. Yeah, I said final answer. Rangers, final answer.
All right, let's start from the beginning. In the mid-'90s, the Mets' Generation K featured Jason Isringhausen, Bill Pulsifer, and who else? With the options, Jake, you said Steve Avery. With the options, Anthony, you said Paul Wilson. Correct answer is?
It is Paul Wilson.
Outlier.
Anthony is up 1-0. Veteran righty Kyle Gibson is returning to the Baltimore Orioles, but last season, how many games did Gibby win for the Redbirds? Anthony, with the options, you said 8. Jake, without the options, you said 12. The correct answer is?
It is 8.
Anthony is up 2-0. Name the school that took home the 2024 Men's College World Series title after defeating Texas A&M. Jake, without the options, you said LSU. Anthony, without the options, you said Tennessee. Would you like to know the options?
Sure.
LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Correct answer is?
It is
Tennessee.
Anthony is up 4-0. Last question before rescuing the Cardinals at the 2000 trade deadline. Will Clark helped guide a different organization to the postseason in the 1990s. Name that club. Without the options, Jake, you said San Francisco Giants. Anthony, you said, got to be the Texas Rangers. I think. Final answer, no, it's not. Wait, yep, I said final answer. Okay, Texas Rangers. Correct answer is?
Confusing question, but it is the Texas Rangers.
Jake.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today. Anthony got you 6-0 today.
Big old fat goose egg. That's okay.
Jake, excellent effort today. Thank you for listening, and just great stuff overall.
Will you just do me a favor and teach me how to crow hop a kid's toy into my neighbor's yard?
I can do that. Jake, if you got time in the morning, I'll be there about 9 a.m. All right, brother?
Sounds great.
All right, man. Hey, you're a lot of fun, Jake. Thanks, buddy.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Jake was funny.
Good dude.
You know what I like about Jake?
Came in hot.
He came in hot, and there was a lot of references that only a regular listener would know.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved it.
Good stuff, Jake.
Yeah.
I mean, not a great effort.
I was going to say,
not a great performance. The effort may have been there. I don't know. You guys heard, but
it was
that's a loyal listener.
It was the
right
thought
there.
that counts.
Yes.
So, final question, a little.
That was, yeah.
It is before, but it's like, well, before is everything.
Before.
Right.
It's not right before.
Which would include the Giants.
But I understand the 2000 trade deadline, he was with
the
Texas.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's basically what the question was alluding to.
It wouldn't have mattered anyways.
No.
But good job, Anthony.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good job by you.
I had a coach, football coach, that said I played much better angry. Jake got me pissed. I'll be honest.
Man, you must have been having a lot of fun when he fumbled that football.
Oh, man.
Really, Marge?
What? I'm talking about references, right?
I've been cool with you today.
I listen every day.
I've been cool with you.
No, actually,
came in tired?
You weren't cool with him when me and him were on one side.
That's
of
true.
you and
That's
Jamie.
because you guys had an awful take in that segment.
Whoa!
Just awful.
I think you're.
Well, guess what, Anthony? Jamie's not here anymore, so I guess it's 2-on-1.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like 2-on-1s.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
You know, I knew Marsh had a bit of a bad night when he came in today, and he sat right down and didn't say a word.
He didn't speak to anybody.
And you know, Marsh typically does that. He comes in, he sits down, and he gets to work, which is admirable. A lot of times, I'll just say, "What's up, Marshy?" And he'll say, "Hey."
You never said that, though.
I didn't say that today because I wanted to test you. I wanted to see if you would say anything.
You were seeing if he was a good guy?
And he didn't.
Well, Anthony, I didn't get a lot of good sleep last night, so it was hot in my room. Just couldn't fall asleep.
We should be celebrating. I just took Jake behind the woodshed.
You did.
And now we're all fighting again.
Well, it's part of the show.
All right. Love it. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Are the Cardinals proving that they can punt defense at some positions and still win? Or in other words, were we wrong on the Cardinals' approach?
Probably.
That's next on 101 ESPN. It's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Kerry Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Snake Pit is hilarious today, by the way. Absolutely hilarious. Splashback Deuce says, in reference to the Gauntlet, sometimes you're the blue heron, sometimes you're the fireworks and pavement.
Oh. Oh.
There's another one about Jake. You've brought great shame to bundling home and auto. I got to find the name on that. I will in a second.
Do we give Jake a half point for that final question?
Yep.
A little confusing there.
Go ahead. You can explain that.
Well, so, let me pull up the question again. Before rescuing the Cardinals at the 2000 trade deadline, Will Clark helped guide a different organization to the postseason in the 1990s, named that club. We had the Texas Rangers as the final answer, but the San Francisco Giants were also on here, and he did play for the Baltimore Orioles before being traded right beforehand to your St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
So
we'll give him a half point.
Half point. He said San Francisco because he also played for San Francisco in the 90s.
Right.
And I'm assuming they made the playoffs during that span.
Yes.
So you made 6 to 0.5?
Yeah.
Wow. We'll give him 0.69 points.
All right.
That sound good to you?
I think Jake would appreciate that too.
Well, I know
like
you would.
The way that you gave him those points.
Yeah.
Those exact points.
Better than zero.
Better than zero. That's right. That was Scott, by the way. Scott said, Jake, you brought great shame to bundling your home and auto. All right, the Cardinals, are they proving that they can punt defense at some positions and still win? Carey, you had brought this up in the office when we were talking about the Cards and putting the show together. And one of the conversations that we had was on Ivan Herrera.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were kind of concerned about coming into the year was, are they going to have issues at certain positions defensively because they just want the bat in the lineup? So far, so good. So were we wrong about this, or is this just a small sample?
Well, I think it's a small sample. You haven't been bit in the butt by it just yet. But we talked about some of these teams that really have guys that can run, and if they get on base, they're probably going to try to take advantage of it. It's wonderful him hitting 3 home runs and scoring those runs and hitting and getting all those RBI, but does it bite you at some point when maybe he's not having a 3 home run day and a team is able to just take off? I'm intrigued to see. And you and Jamie brought up a point, maybe the games that you do play against those teams, and maybe this is the point you all were trying to make. I'll give you a little bit of credit.
Thanks.
It's not what you said, because what you said was asinine, and Marcia and I will stand by that. But what you meant.
Yeah, what Carey said.
Yeah, maybe
I see the 2 pieces of bread. Unfortunately, I see the crap in the middle, Carey. Continue.
Maybe what you meant was when they play those teams that are teams that run really well, maybe Ivan Herrera is the DH that day. And Pedro Paez.
That's what I literally said. Not what I meant. That's what I literally said.
What you said, not how it was presented to us. What you presented to us was a comment that Marsh and I just couldn't really get behind.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Well, but even with that, I still don't think you should have all 3 of those guys in the game for 40, 50 games a year. That's just my personal opinion. But it will be intriguing to see how the Cardinals go about this, because the one issue, and I won't forget, we were sitting in here watching a spring training game one day, and I was livid at the ball that was thrown from behind the plate to the second baseman. Like, it was not good, man.
No.
And if it's not good, I mean, Herrera threw a ball back to the pitcher, or tried to last series, and it hit the bat of was it Nick? Who is it? Nick Riley? I can't remember who it was, but he hits the bat, and the bat hit the Angel in the head.
Is that Lincoln's brother?
Lincoln. I think so.
But either way,
it was an Angel.
It was an
That's
Angel.
all we know.
He hit him in the head with his own bat because he hit the ball into the bat, threw the ball into the bat. So he's got pretty good aim. He just doesn't have a lot of strength there. He's getting the ball there. It's just taking a long time. And my fear,
which isn't good.
That's not
anything that you just described. Is none of it is good.
What are you talking about? They're preaching bat on ball.
They are. Yeah. No, you're
maybe
right.
not ball on bat, but
yeah, it's not great. So it again, small sample size, but we will see when it comes down to it if it does become an issue, because teams will take advantage. One thing that I know, whatever you put on tape is what
teams will try to attack. And if you put on tape, if your film says you can't throw people out, they are going to be lined up in a track stance getting ready to take off.
Yeah.
It's almost, you put the pitchers in a position they can't even throw over twice because they're taking off on the
right.
I'm out of here.
And the pitchers do. We get reminded of this constantly, and I feel like every single time we have to bring it up as well. The pitchers also need to control the run game too. They have to. They're all part of it. But there's really nothing you can do when your catcher's sailing it in the center field. I think that for now, it's fine. For now, they can continue to develop Herrera behind the dish. You obviously want that bat in the lineup. He's going to continue to mix in, or Pedro Paz is going to continue to mix in, and that's it. Herrera's your catcher.
How it's saying, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it
good.
seems as though he's going, and I say Herrera's going to play the majority of the game until it comes down to a late game situation, and then you put Paz in the game. But then you're taking out that bat.
Right.
Like we saw yesterday, we were joking, like, why didn't they pinch hit for him here? Like, joking. And then his next at bat, he struck out in that one, and his next at bat, he hit another home run. But there is going to be a time where you try to substitute him where you have to substitute him for defense, and then his time in the lineup is going to come back up, and Paez may or may not do what you would expect him to do.
Right.
Which is a problem.
Yeah, and I don't think there is ever a end-all, be-all to any conversation. You can get away with this for a while. You might get away with it for the majority of the season. And what I say by that, I mean, Herrera behind the dish. Jordan Walker has been completely fine in right field. I've brought up concerns about him playing right field consistently. He's been just fine out there. You could get away with not having your weakness exposed. And I don't really care what sport we're talking about. That could be the case. And right now, the Cardinals are overcoming what could be a potential weakness for them. I mean, I've still never seen a good postseason team play bad defensively. In the regular season, you can mash, great. You can lean on that offense. In the postseason, it's got to mostly be about pitching and defense. But for now, it's fine.
Let's just make the playoffs first.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, this can't be the template. For sure, what I'm saying. But for now, it's fine.
By the way,
BTW.
We got to get rid of those points for Jake.
Why?
Because Will Clark, although he did play for San Francisco, they did not make the playoffs in the 90s when he was on that team. The last time they made it was 89, and then they made it in 97, but he was already on the Rangers.
Wow.
So, sorry, Jake, you just lost those .69 points.
Well, that's why I went with the Rangers, too, because the Rangers made the postseason, but I knew the Orioles didn't. Oh, well, no, the Orioles did, but not with him. Because the Orioles made it. Remember, do you remember the name Jeffrey Mayer?
Is that John's brother?
Right.
No. He's the boy that reached over the wall at Yankee Stadium and made the catch.
That's right.
Above an outfielder.
That's right.
From the Orioles. But Will Clark wasn't on that team. Anyways, clunky question. But Will Clark was on the Rangers when they made the playoffs. No points those points were awarded, and now they've been taken back. The shutout has been preserved.
Isn't that wild when you reach over the wall and you catch a ball or maybe drop it? If your team loses, you have to get out of town. But if you catch it and they call it a home run, you're a hero.
Right.
Weird how that works.
Seriously. That's probably what's-his-face should have done, in Chicago. He should have batted the ball back to Alou.
Or they should have just not fumbled the next opportunity that they had.
Hey, Alex Gonzalez. That's a tough play.
Is it?
That's a tough routine play.
Or is it your job?
From Alex Gonzalez to shortstop.
But let's blame somebody else.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
You know whose fault that was? You saw him there, and he was the only one. He's the only one reaching out, trying to get that foul ball.
Sure was. Wow. You realize they didn't say anything to Rodney Peete when he did it a couple of weeks ago? He caught a ball in, was it Japan, wasn't it? Did you see that? You didn't see that video?
Rodney Peete, the quarterback?
Yeah.
The old quarterback?
Oh, yeah. There was I forget who it was. They were upset. They weren't that upset.
He had a glove.
But was it the playoffs?
No. It wasn't playoffs. It was in Japan. It was the Dodgers
the Dodgers series? Okay.
Yeah.
He did it?
Yeah, he caught it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It was a good catch.
It was a great catch.
I missed it.
And he even said, my glove was under his glove. So if he was going to catch it, he should have caught it.
That's what Steve Bartman should have said.
Oh, is that his name?
Oh, Bartman.
The Bartman. That's what he should have said.
Bartman and Robin.
That's why I don't like Chicago folks.
If you caught it, if you said you could have caught it, you should have caught it.
There you go.
That's what Bartman should have said. Just stood on it. Like, hey,
I'd have stood there. I'd have been,
You and I had the same opportunity.
It'd have been much pushback. The hell you blaming me for? You got a glove. You're the pro. Catch the damn ball, man.
It didn't help either that Moises Alou
pointed to him and blamed him.
And it had all that. And then later on, like much later on, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I would have caught that.
Years later?
Yeah. Years later. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been a tough catch. I don't know if I would have got it.
Yeah.
After this man been threatened. Oh, goodness.
Should have said that in post game.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, we've got our part one of the Sports Six Pack next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. If you want to send us a question, part one, Six Pack next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. You just heard Dylan Holloway say it. It is a Blues game day. The Blues look to win their 11th game in a row tonight as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. You can listen to that game right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We talked earlier with Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues right here on the Blues Radio Network, 101 ESPN. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the show page. You can find all of our podcasts there. That's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. The Cardinals, they are off today, but they'll take on the Boston Red Sox tomorrow. Eric Fetty on the mound, going up against Walker Buehler. First pitch is at 1:10. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next, so make sure you get your questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Time for the Sports Six-Pack, Part 1, 314-399-9646. This is your opportunity to text the show, and if you got certain questions, sports or otherwise, that you want to ask me, Carey, or Marsh, again, now's your time. Marsh, question 1, please.
Question number 1.
All right, this one comes from Lou. My question for the six-pack is, if Quinn Matthews starts tearing it up in AAA and forces his way into a promotion, who do you take out of the rotation? I understand that so far we have not seen we have seen Liberatore pitch. For argument's sake, let's say he is pitching around a 3.80 to 4 ERA. That's from Lou.
Oh, then Liberatore stays. You're looking at Matthew Liberatore as a fifth starter, and by you, I mean the Cardinals are looking at him as a fifth starter. So if he's in that range that you just suggested, Marsh, then he stays in the rotation. I don't mean to cop out, but these problems typically work themselves out. You either have a young pitcher that's not performing well, so in this case, it would be Liberatore or Palante that you could move out. There could be an injury to anybody in the rotation, and then that opens up a spot. Or, in the case of maybe Eric Fetty, he's moved at some point, and then a spot is opened up. But you had mentioned, Marsh, correct me if I'm wrong, that was a Quinn Matthews question, correct?
Quinn Matthews, correct.
I mean, think about this, though. You still have, and I'm sure the texters thought about this as well, but you still have Mike McGreevy. McGreevy would be the next one up into the rotation. So you're really talking about two spots. So some combination of a trade, injury, or poor performance.
Well, you also have
it would be two spots.
Steven Matz as well.
Very true.
I agree. I think it all works itself out. However it may tend to happen. Obviously, no one prepares or expects to be injured, but injuries happen all the time. And so it'll work itself out how it needs to be. But let's keep going. Cards, you've been playing well.
I will say this, though. If the opportunity arises, I'm sure we'll see Matthews in spot starts. Might not be right away, but I think they'll find a way to get him one or two starts through at some point this season. Just a guess, just a prediction.
Question number 2.
From the 636, which Blues defenseman is scratched when Colton Parayko comes back? Has Tyler Tucker played himself into a playoff role?
Yes. I think Tyler Tucker has played himself into a key role. I wonder, and Marsh, tell me what you think about this. I know he's a veteran. I know he's played in a ton of games. I think he's played in a ton of consecutive games. But I wonder if Suter's the one that gets moved.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's got more offensive upside right now?
Tyler Tucker.
But do you need the offensive upside if you What do you need more?
You'll take it, though. If the guys are playing pretty similar.
You would. Who do you trust more? The old crafty vet or the young guy, new kid on the block?
I think both have played very well, but I think Tyler Tucker's playing better hockey right now. And he gives you more offensive upside if you're comparing the two. Just my thought. That's a tough conversation, though. With the guy that may hang it up at the end of the year.
You would hate to see that, though, right? He plays the whole year, a chance to finally make that push for the Stanley Cup. I mean, not that he hasn't before, but like win a Stanley Cup if the Blues were to, do so and not be a part of that playoff journey.
Sure.
That would, obviously we're not making the decisions. I'm sure it's a hard decision if he were to be the one to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I'm a player, I would absolutely hate that, but also respect it.
Sure.
It's just, that's tough.
Listen, I'm
come
with you.
on,
I'm with you.
That's tough.
You don't have to yell at me. I got you.
We're having a few people text in who they would choose. Rambo says Letty is the man out. The 618 says Falk gets scratched. I think Falk's been playing pretty well as of late. The 618 says no chance Tucker dresses. So,
well,
they might not.
All right, we'll see.
We got a couple different opinions here.
Different viewpoints. We shall see.
Question number 3.
All right, from the 314, if the Blues made it to the Stanley Cup, who would you like to see them play?
Ooh. So, at this point, we're going storylines, right? And the guy that's got the best storylines is always our guy, Andrew Marsh.
Yes.
So, if you're going to develop a storyline, what's your best storyline?
My best storyline?
I've got one.
I'm looking at a team.
I've got an easy one. I wonder if you're on the same page.
Is it the team that won last year?
No, absolutely not.
Nope.
It has to be another team that wears blue, that has not gone far in the playoffs, I think, since I have been born.
Legendary team, would you say?
An original 16 with a head coach that won the Blues a Stanley Cup in Craig Berube and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That is a story.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a story.
Got to be the Maple Leafs. There's no other. I mean, Florida because of the Kachuk connection. That's cool.
Where you were going.
But it's got to be the Maple Leafs. It would be great for hockey, and it would make for a fantastic story.
Who would you not want to see? I think we can put the Canadiens on there. Even though they're an original 6 team.
Who would, okay, so.
Let's eliminate some teams here.
Okay.
Canadians for me.
Yeah.
Devils, don't care about them. Carolina, they'll probably make it to the Eastern Conference Final and get swept per usual.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Devils. I don't want to see the Canadians. I mean, the Senators might be somewhat interesting, but
it would be the Leafs, the Panthers, or the Capitals.
You're going more for
in that order.
The teams that are really good.
What about the Lightning?
Well,
Ride the Lightning. Metallica style.
I wasn't gonna say Metallica.
You weren't?
No.
I appreciate you being honest. What were you gonna say? Dave Matthews?
I don't know.
Ride the Lightning.
Metallica. Leonard Skinner, something like that. AC/DC.
All
He's in a group called White Lightning. White Snake.
Yeah,
that's what I was probably thinking. Yeah.
The one that intrigues me, and the 618 brings it up, the 314 brings it up, and we just brought it up too, the Washington Capitals with Alexander Ovechkin, probably in his final years here.
Sure.
He'll break the record. Might do it, in the next few games.
Yeah.
I think he's 3 away from breaking, 2 away from tying.
Yeah.
Scored last night.
It's pretty amazing.
That would be pretty cool,
Seriously.
too. That'd be cool to see him in the Stanley Cup once again. But I think the obvious answer, at least for me, for you, Carey, it's got to be the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially with the Craig Berube, connection.
Sure.
The team has been horrible in the playoffs.
Horrible.
I mean, they might not make it out of the first round again. Who knows? But
they might.
But they might. Who knows? Right now, I think they're slated to play Ottawa. Could you imagine if Ottawa, who has not made the playoffs in quite some time, finally makes it and then beats the Leafs in the playoffs. Can you imagine?
I can't.
Toronto media would be up in flames.
Yeah.
And it would be funny to see, though.
It would be glorious in some respects. All right, go ahead. Question 3, please.
Oh, that was question 3.
Let's take a break. Okay, I get it. You guys are both paying attention. Cool. That was a jump down my throat, huh?
Well, Anthony, you just got caught up in the stereotypes.
I did.
I mean, the storylines.
Stereotypes, exactly. Yes. Part 2 of the Sports Six Pack is next. Keep those questions coming in. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. If you want to keep sending in those questions, we'll answer them next. Sports Six Pack Part 2. When I had a question this week about a situation I was dealing with when it came to a loan, I called Stewie, and Stewie joins me right now. Stewie, got some interesting news about the market, maybe some bad news, but or is it?
Well, Anthony, bad news for stocks, great news for bonds, and mortgage rates are based on what happens in the bond market. Interest rates plummeted today, biggest drop that I've seen in maybe 3 years, 4 years, really quick. Now, this could be a short window of opportunity. So if you financed over the last 2-3 years, this is the time to refinance. If rates go down later, you can do it again. But I think this is a short window. I think it's right now. The market's a little bit spooked with the tariffs. Bond markets are going crazy right now. Take advantage because I really think it's a superficial, temporary situation. Refinance now. Save 0.5%, 0.75%, $100, $200, $300 in that payment for free. You'll be way ahead of the game. Maybe even reduce that term from a 30 to a 20 and keep the payment the same. So give us a call. We'll review it with you and tell you what's best.
And that's exactly what he'll do. That's what Stewie did for me today. Stewie can be found online. If you Google the Bagel Loan, you'll see his phone number right there. It's 314-324-4440. Same phone number, same exact phone number I used to call him. That's his personal cell phone number. But you heard the man. This could be a very small window, so take advantage of it while you can. You might save a ton of money. So give him a call, 314-324-4440. Or again, you can always Google the Bagel Loan. Stewie, thanks again for today, and keep up the great work.
Go Blues.
NMLS number 226715.
time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Part 2 of the Sports Six-Pack is now. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. If you got a question that you want to ask for CD, Marsh, or me, great. Send it there. And maybe you'll have it read like this one.
Question number 4.
All right, from the 618. Do you think sports should get rid of names like March Madness and the Fall Classic when the sport carries into the next month? Now, the Fall Classic, that can work a little bit just because it's still fall. But, you know, October baseball, that's typically when they play the postseason for Major League Baseball. And now it's starting to trail into November, which I find to be disgusting. But what about March? What about March Madness?
So hold on here. I got to peel back this onion. You find it disgusting that it goes to November because it's too long, or because of the names?
Because it's too long.
Okay,
too long.
Sense.
Yeah, like
that's
I understand when Derek Jeter was named Mr. November.
Mm-hmm. That was
different circumstances.
Yeah.
We should not be playing baseball in November.
Especially when you're starting late March.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why not?
What do you mean, why not?
Well, you want to start
most of the calendar year
early?
This isn't soccer.
You want to start earlier? Because it's going to be cold either way.
No, just
no. Like, what did they used to do? They used to have
back-to-backs or something.
Come on, you know these players don't want to play more back-to-backs.
Somehow it worked for all these years, but now it doesn't.
They played into October. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October.
Well, yeah, that's playoffs.
They play in
fine.
October.
Yeah.
Kerry, what is going on with you?
I want more games. I love sports. I'm sorry that you two.
You just want more hits, runs, RBIs.
Work at a radio.
That's what it is. There it is.
I'm sorry that you
it's
two.
At the board. That's what it is. It's personal to him.
I'm sorry that you two work in radio every day and you don't love sports.
Oh,
right?
stop it.
You want sports to stop. You want a time where you don't have. What the hell are we going to talk about if there are no sports?
ESPN documentaries, Netflix documentaries.
We can do that.
We've done it before. We'll do it again. Actually, no, let's not do that again. Splashback Deuce, I think he brings up a great point from the Snake Pit. He goes, the madness happened in March. It's not madness anymore. It's 3 more games.
There you go.
It's a great point.
I agree.
Okay. The madness is in March.
It is.
Well, there was no madness this year.
This year.
It was all chalk.
Can I ask you something, Marsh?
Yeah. It is the six-pack.
Is this the most disappointing NCAA tournament to you?
Since I've been watching?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like you've been crushed by this.
My most disappointing was watching.
Well, we know what that one was. The Final Four was here in St. Louis.
Oh, no. That was actually, you know what? That was actually very thrilling. I enjoyed both games. Didn't come out on top. Took an L to old North Carolina.
Oh, you're talking about the Loyola game.
Oh, yeah. I was talking.
Or you're talking about last year when they lost 3-point lead.
Too many.
No,
okay. You can stop.
I want to know which one, though, because I thought UConn.
It was the Loyola game.
Okay, so.
Yeah, the UConn went, I mean, at least they went on to win the national championship, so I can kind of.
Loyola made the Final Four?
But they didn't win. Did they make the Final Four?
Yeah.
Did they? I thought they made it to the Elite Eight.
No, they made it to the Final Four.
Yeah, they had the Final Four.
Yeah, they didn't win it all.
Who'd they lose to, Michigan or something?
I believe so.
Was that the year that Michigan won? Or made it to...
Yeah.
I know Michigan...
It was unfortunate.
Michigan and... Who was it? Who'd they play? Was
North Carolina?
I thought it was...
Villanova. Wasn't it Nova?
I don't know why I thought it was Louisville.
Oh, I don't think it was Louisville.
No.
Well, let's goggle it.
Yeah, do that.
What year was it?
Let's see. I would have to say, if I can remember correctly, 2017.
Yeah, it was 16 or 17.
Was it that far ago?
I was in college at the time.
UConn won it in 04. UConn won it in 03. Kansas won it in 2022. Baylor in 2021. Virginia beat Texas Tech. Nova beat Michigan in 2018. This was the 2018 March Madness.
Was it 18?
Mm-hmm. It was 2018.
Not a good year.
And
heartbreaking.
Just want to confirm here.
Where's Swan at? He would know.
It was Loyola Chicago. It was Michigan. It was Villanova, and it was Kansas. Michigan beat Loyola. Nova beat Kansas.
And then Nova won it all.
And then Nova won it all, 79-62. There you go.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaking one.
Well,
you lose to UConn and they win the national championship. I mean, you don't score. It was a 20-point run.
That's a tough go.
That was.
That's almost hard to do.
But Illinois was, what seed were they that year? We were, I don't remember.
The year that they lost to Illinois, Loyola.
Well, they didn't. Yeah, that wasn't the year they made it to the Final Four.
That was not the
Yeah.
When Illinois lost.
That's the year.
They were a top seed.
Yes, that's
one or two.
Why, yeah, it was. I think
that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was tough.
Sister Jean is not Carey's lover.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Sounds like a song I would sing in a break. All right, go ahead. Fire away here.
Question number 5.
From the 618, do you think American sports should use relegation and promotion like soccer does around the world? Could it work to prevent tanking? No one wants to see a team trying to lose.
Oh, so you get sent down if you are a team that's not trying? What if you're trying and you just stink?
Try better.
Who do you promote in that point?
Yeah, right. Who? That's the question. So let's just take the NFL for example. So does the XFL, or now UFL? Does the UFL?
Yeah, that means the Battlehawks, when they win this year, they'll be in the NFL next year.
I like that idea.
I don't know that works.
Okay,
I think it works pretty well. Those guys are playing to be in the NFL, are they not?
Yes.
There you go. They did it in the documentary Tropic Thunder. Thinking of the Flint Tropics. Semi-pro
they did.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's based on a true story, was it not?
It absolutely was.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a team that you can bring up that will be, it would be the same team going down every year. After
for football?
Yeah. Like if you brought up, with all due respect.
Oh, you're saying after so let's just say the Battlehawks won,
they would
be the one dropped back down.
Yeah.
Because like the Browns or somebody, or the Titans this year would
got better.
Okay. The Titans would have to go to the UFL and they would win.
They would beat the hell out of everybody.
Okay. All right.
Like this.
Would it be fun to watch?
I don't think so.
Okay. I guess it's a fast lane no for us.
Yeah. Thank you.
I tried. I played it out.
Try harder, Anthony.
But Carey just pooped all over it.
Yeah. That's enough for me, dog.
Okay.
Question number 6.
Oh, weird question, unique question, but I like it. Who would you choose, and this is from Jigsaw, by the way, who would you choose to be your best friend if you could choose out of any animated character ever?
Animated?
Ever. Animated.
So this is like computer generated and just
like
cartoons.
Yeah, cartoon.
I don't know why. Maybe because of the song.
Man.
Buzz Lightyear came to mind.
You got a friend.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
That one. I mean, this is tough.
I mean, how far?
This is real tough.
Who has the most to give as a animated, creature or created? What cartoon gives you the most?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for, right? You need a wingman, or maybe not. Maybe go with Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
What are you trying to attain in this friendship? Like, are you trying to save the world? Are you just trying to hang out and be cool?
Yeah.
What about a Ninja Turtle or something?
I mean,
yeah, you could.
You got to be in sewers, though. Yeah, it's not.
You don't have to be.
You kind of do. You gotta just have them hang out at your spot.
Yeah, but think about how much pizza they have. You like pizza?
Yeah,
I do.
I do like pizza.
So does Tristan Jari.
Oh,
I don't know. That's
AB says Genie. That's not a bad one. Do you get unlimited wishes?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can answer this one. That's tough because Marsh is right. You basically have to figure out what you're looking for.
I think I said that, but
Marsh, Carey. Kerry said you basically have to. Well, no, Marsh said.
No, that's what I said. It depends on what you're looking for.
Kerry just tried to steal it.
I wasn't
I think
listening.
another cool one would be Samurai Jack.
Who's that?
He's a Cartoon Network character that would just demolish people, Anthony. So
I
talk about Carey being a bodyguard for Jordan Cairo. Samurai Jack, he'll be your bodyguard.
Probably Uncle Scrooge. He used to watch that DuckTales. He's swimming all that gold before the show. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncle Scrooge?
But it's like cartoon gold. I don't think that helps
The
you.
Ghost?
It's good. No, not that.
Not that Scrooge.
You never saw
Yeah.
DuckTales? Oh, how old are you? You're 29.
He's dead.
Never
No
saw
way.
DuckTales.
I know what DuckTales is.
And they had he had the bank of money. It was like a bunch of money,
Gotcha.
gold coins.
Gold
he would go
coins.
swim in and spit them out.
I would love to see you though. Like, hey, my buddy's got me on this one, and he just puts up a gold coin. They're like, we don't take gold coins here.
Take it now. Thank me later. You know?
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Thanks for the sports six-pack questions. Ollie Marmol said something interesting about one of his young players yesterday that I thought would be perfect to have the conversation about with CD, who played at the pro level. And it doesn't matter if it's baseball or football or basketball, but it really comes down to developing players and doing so at the pro level. That's next on 101 ESPN. For some people, if you look at your lawn right now and you see a ton of weeds or purple thatch or crabgrass, it's all spread out. You're like, uh-oh, I got to head to the hardware store. Don't. Save your money and call Green Envy Lawn Care. 636-655-3689. Again, 636-655-3689. Or visit greenenvylawns.com. Or, of course, you can Google it. Green Envy is the only lawn company that we love in the Stalter household, the only company that we allow touch our lawn because they make it look fantastic year-round. All you have to do is mow and edge and sit back and look at the lawn, and summer day, have a beer, look back. I love it. They handle the weeds during the springtime. And if we're getting a lot of rain like we are now in St. Louis and the weather starts to warm up, that's when you really see the weeds take over your lawn. When it comes to Green Envy, they only use products that are formulated for our Missouri soil, Missouri weather conditions, and Missouri turf types. I didn't even realize that depending on where the sun hit in your lawn, there needs to be different products that are used in those areas compared to other areas. Green Envy did. Green Envy, they take care of me during the springtime, really all year round. But when it comes to the springtime and you're dealing with all the problems that make your lawn look like crap, Green Envy is going to take care of you. Open Monday through Friday, no program, or their program, I should say, has zero hidden fees, no contracts. So their programs, no hidden fees, no contract necessary. greenenvylawns.com. .505, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh and Kerry Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Ollie Marmol was talking to the media about Matthew Liberatore following Matthew Liberatore's start. He said the reality is we only talk about development when we're taking a player out of something. Let me repeat that. The reality is we only talk about development when we're taking a player out of something. We don't talk about developing the player who is coming into the situation. So what he was referring to is, if Jordan Walker gets sent down, we only talk about then, well, he's got to develop. He needs more development time. We don't talk about Matthew Liberatore, who has mostly been a reliever. He's had some spot starts, certainly. He's had some opportunities. But we don't talk about the development that occurs when they're heading into a situation. So in this case, Matthew Liberatore's heading into the starting rotation. And this might be obvious. Obviously, you have to develop players at the big league level. But I don't know how many times people have often discussed, well, they're in the pros. This is the paid league.
Yeah.
This is the big leagues. Or if it's hockey, it's same deal. This is the pro level. We're not developing you anymore. I don't think the development, especially for young players, should stop just because they get to the big league level. That essentially, and Carey, correct me if I'm wrong, that essentially is coaching.
Well, it should never stop. You should always be learning. I remember watching, NFL sports or whatever. What was it years ago?
NFL Films?
NFL Films.
Yeah.
And
with
Joe
Sable.
Montana. Yeah.
Steve Sable?
Yeah, I think so. It was wonderful.
Steve Sable, yeah.
Joe Montana was in his 8th, 9th, 10th year, and they still had notepad and pen out going over the same offense he's been running since he got there.
Yeah.
Right? So you're always developing, you're always learning, you're always trying to find little nuggets that can help you be better no matter what age you are, no matter how many years you are in the league. And so development doesn't stop. That's why coaches are brought in. That's why coaches are hired to help the player become the best version of themselves and to give them the nuanced things that help them be the best player that they can be.
Right.
And obviously it's more learning when you're younger, but it does not stop because you're in the big leagues or you're a professional athlete. Like, you still have to figure out how to gain an advantage every single time you're out there. And when you're a young player like Matthew Liberatore, who has kind of yo-yoed between being a starter, being a reliever, trying to figure out, well, what is he best suited as and how can he help this team be better? There is some development there. How to put together a game plan to pitch multiple innings as opposed to being a reliever that's coming in certain spots where you got to get a couple of guys out. Now we need you to get 5 to 6 innings, maybe more if you can. How does this impact your velocity? All of the things that come with that, and how are you going to attack a hitter that you are facing for the second or third time in the lineup instead of one and done. So yes, you're always developing, learning how to be a better player and a better pitcher.
It reminds me of the phrase, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Indeed.
I hope I'm never a finished product, right? Because that would mean that I'm probably dead. I've stopped learning along the way. Why would that be any different for an athlete, let alone somebody like Matthew Liberatore,
right? That
is not a finished product, and that the Cardinals are still trying to develop to be a starter, or if he's going to fall back on, he's a reliever. But I don't know. I really like that quote from Ollie. It's also something with Ollie that is not lineup based. It's not bullpen decision based, which for some fans, that's all Ollie does. He's got 3 jobs: make the lineup, figure out pinch hit situations, and bullpen situations, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
No, especially this season, he's got much more on his plate, including helping guys develop. So I love the fact that he had mentioned, we don't talk about developing the player who's coming into the situation. I think when it comes to Liberatore, if he winds up being a 4th or 5th starter for you, that would be great. You acquired him in the Randy Arozarena and Jose Martinez deal. Even if he stepped into that long relief role, somebody, I mentioned this before, the Andrew Miller type, where he's going to pitch multiple innings for you out of the pen in key situations. If he winds up being that, fantastic. But if he winds up being a fourth or fifth starter, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. He's not a homegrown player, but he might as well be.
Do you feel that there's a level of pressure, not for Liberatore, but for the Cardinals to make him a starter because of what you gave up to get him in return? Like, do you think that there's a sense of pressure saying, all right, we gave up two guys that ended up being really good players. You got to come on. We got to, because we can't replace that unless you show us an ability to be somewhere near that level.
Right.
I wonder if that's part of the conversation, because I don't know what I think he's had opportunities to be a starter. I'm with you. I felt like, and maybe it's the build, the profile, the left-handedness. Maybe that's why I think of Andrew Miller as opposed to a starting pitcher. Like he to me, he's him and Steven Matz are one and the same. Now, Steven Matz has been a pretty good starter in his career at one time.
Yeah.
But he's kind of slotted into this reliever role now. So I wonder if there's some pressure there or a thought process there of, we gave up this, so you need to be that.
That's a really good question. I'll answer that this way. There has to be, but it shouldn't impact their decision-making.
It shouldn't be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It shouldn't be.
You want to get, of course, you made that deal, and Randy Rosarina went on and did some pretty good things with the Rays. And I know that he's with the Mariners now. They also flipped him to the Mariners and got good pieces in return. So what the Rays did with that asset has been much more than what you have done with Matthew Liberatore, your asset.
Right.
So I think there's got to be a sense of, we need Matthew Liberatore to be something to justify giving up Randy Rosarina. I think that's just kind of basic when it comes to the front office, right? That's just a basic human thought. But I don't think there should be any added pressure on Liberatore or Ollie or anybody else to develop him as such, because you already made the deal.
Right.
The deal's done. It's not like you can go back. So now it's just about, let's just develop him at the pace that we need to develop him at. That's the way I would answer that.
I would hope that that's the process, the thought process.
Yeah, because if not, what are you doing? You're going to put extra pressure. You need to do something because we made this deal. Hey,
but
my fault. You made the deal.
That does happen, right? There are sometimes guys get a little bit more rope because they feel like, well, we drafted you in the first round.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
NFL quarterback, you're going to defensive end.
Right.
Like, we spent the second overall pick on you. You're going to be good. I ain't gonna be ever gonna be good.
You should have took the other guy.
You're not ever gonna be what you need me to be, pal. I'm trying. Oh no, you're gonna be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, I'll get on that. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. That's Kerry Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, and Andrew Marsh is what's trending next. Baseball fans, if you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy, I don't know what you're waiting for. Underdog Fantasy it gives you the opportunity to play for as little as $1 and win up to $1,000 just with your basic baseball knowledge. If you're the friend that's always like, oh yeah, I knew that pitcher would have had a great start, or oh yeah, the matchup was too good for this hitter. Well, head to Underdog Fantasy, and I'll give you a download code here in a second to cash in on a great promo offer that they have. But if you've been that person, then why don't you just go to Underdog Fantasy after you download it? All you have to do is choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. So they got strikeouts, they got home runs, they got hits, they got RBI, they got runs, everything. And it's not just baseball. They've got basketball, hockey, soccer. You can pick a Blues player tonight to go higher on points, and then choose a Cardinals player tomorrow to go higher on hits, and have a St. Louis-based pick for him if you want. Underdog Fantasy gives you so many different ways to cash in, but you do What you do need to download the Underdog app. Sign up now using my promo code Anthony, so it's just my first name, and then you're going to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. So you can join in on the fun when you sign up with my promo code Anthony. Claim that special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon your first deposit. It must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369.
What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It's time to find out with
What's Trending, brought to you by Elite Comfort Experts. Heating and cooling with no gimmicks, just guarantees. EliteComfortExperts.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, the Cardinals are off today, but they'll take on the Boston Red Sox at Fenway tomorrow. It's a day game, 1:10 first pitch, and Eric Fetty is on the mound. He had a heck of a start in his first start of the season. You know, we always talk about, well, maybe some of the older veterans will pitch their way out of the rotation. Mm-hmm. What is the best outcome for the Cardinals as it pertains to Eric Fetty? Do you see him perhaps being dealt if he continues to pitch so well? Or do you think the Cardinals hold on to him and see how this season plays out, and maybe he's a part of that rotation for a stretch run if this team continues, to play good ball?
I think him pitching well will allow you, will give you some options. So the best case scenario is he pitches well, and you're either in a spot where at the trade deadline it still makes all the sense in the world to deal him, since he's likely not going to be in your rotation moving forward. Not saying he couldn't be, not saying you couldn't, sign him, but you want the option. You want the option of him pitching well so that you can either deal him at the deadline or he's contributing to a playoff run. That's really that. Because if he pitches poorly, then nobody's going to want him. You're not going to max on his value. And what do? You move him to the pen, put him on waivers, clear up a spot. I think it's better overall if he winds up being good for you.
I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think if you run into a situation where he's performing well and you're right there in striking distance, you're probably not trading anybody.
No. So,
I think in all ways you want him to perform well. I mean, you don't want him to stink, because then every fifth day your team is going to stink. You're going to have a long outing. So the best case scenario is him performing well, and you all getting wins when he's out there on the mound.
No doubt.
Guys, a little NFL news for you. I know you two like the NFL, so I'll bring it up here. The Dallas Cowboys have landed a guy that I find very intriguing after watching him get a cup of coffee in the league last season with the New England Patriots. It's Joe Milton. So the Cowboys have landed Joe Milton, and that is because the pride of Central Michigan, Cooper Rush, is now with the Baltimore Ravens. So they bring in Joe Milton. Last year, he played for the New England Patriots, and they defeated the Buffalo Bills. He completed 22 of 29 passes for 241 yards and a touchdown, while also running in a touchdown as well. Interesting pickup for the Cowboys. What do you guys think of Joe Milton, by the way? He's got a heck of an arm.
Yeah, he's got some mobility too. So Joe Milton, if you remember correctly, was at Michigan initially and then transferred to Tennessee. So kind of a decorated collegiate player for a while there. Drafted in the sixth round. I don't think that he's anything more than a developmental backup, but you did need somebody, as Marsh just noted. Cooper Rush goes to CD's Ravens, and now the Cowboys needed him. Wow. I think he's an intriguing backup. He's somebody that at least can give you some mobility, and he's got a bit of a whip to him. I just don't know if he'll ever develop into a starter.
Joe Milton was the quarterback when Tennessee was playing extremely well, and then he tore up his knee. Am I correct? He was...
Oh, no.
That's not Joe Milton.
That's Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker,
Yeah, who plays for the Lions.
Got you. That's who.
That's Deshaun Kaiser.
Well, yeah.
He went to Notre Dame.
I don't think
that's right. You know what I'm thinking of?
Who are you thinking of? Hendon Hooker, Tennessee?
No, I'm thinking of my guy for 2 games.
T. Martin?
No.
Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs.
Have we named every Tennessee quarterback outside of Peyton Manning?
Yeah. Oh, he's the white guy. That's the difference. All those guys.
True, all the other guys were black. You're right.
I don't think it's cool. You have a backup. Dak is your starting quarterback. You're getting paid $60 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he stays healthy, you're fine. You're not doing anything crazy there.
Right.
He's going to
learn.
Don't you
want some intrigue, though, for your backup?
If I got to worry about the backup quarterback, I got bigger problems on my hand.
Oh, if you're going to the backup quarterback, you're screwed. I would...
unless you're the Atlanta Falcons, then you got a backup that is a starter.
Yeah. Who? You got the best backup in the league.
Kirky Cousins. Yeah. That's why you kept him.
Yeah.
Is he going to back up, or will he start the year off?
He'll be a backup.
No, he's a backup. Best backup in the league, Marshy.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say what I was going to say.
Let him rot. Know what I mean?
Wow.
Let him rot.
Your disdain for Kirky Cousins is should be studied.
Shouldn't have signed there.
Well, where else was he going to get that much money, Anthony?
Exactly.
Why are you blaming him?
Exactly.
Blame Arthur.
I don't blame him.
And not Smith. The other Arthur.
I blame the other one, too.
Yeah. Blank.
Do you blame Arthur Smith because that team was so bad they ended up picking Michael Penix Jr.?
Great point, Marsh.
Just saying.
That was
looking for the positives.
That was one last gift he gave that organization.
Yeah, I think your hatred is misguided. I really do.
I don't.
I think you're blaming the guy that got paid instead of the guy that paid him. It's misguided.
I do blame Terry Fontenot for that.
Why? Did he write the check?
No, but he went to Arthur to get the check.
Who wrote the check?
Arthur Blank. All right, I don't blame him.
Blaming the wrong guy.
All right, I hate them all.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But I like Arthur Blank.
You
Wilson
do.
Smith.
That's
I do.
why you. That's why you won't blame him.
I'm not going to blame him.
He signs the checks.
He cares. He's an owner that cares.
Does he? Did
Has he made a lot of mistakes? Yeah.
Did he care when he said, Kirky, I'll pay you 100 million?
Here's the thing about Blank. He puts the football people in place to make those decisions, and his football people let him down.
Well, then whose fault is that?
Terry Fontenot.
It's Arthur Blank's. He
That's true. He hired him. It always goes right to the top. You're right, TD. You're right. You're right.
Real quick here, we have gotten some text messages. I brought up the Cardinals, Eric Fetty, and people were wondering, like, why are we talking about the Cardinals so much? No one's going to the games. Do you think? Wow. Do you think there's any correlation there? Do you think people don't want to hear about the team because they're not going to the games?
I think there's zero correlation.
You think so?
I think we knew. Let me stress this. I really think that we need to separate the two, and I'll tell you why. Next, we'll also do Bet the Board here on 101 ESPN.
Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We are less than 30 minutes away till Blues pregame as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Blues have won 10 games in a row, looking for their 11th win in a row. We'll see if they can do it tonight at the Enterprise Center. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. If you've missed anything from today's show, including our interview with Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues right here on the Blues Radio Network, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. You can check out the podcast, and it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. We have Bet the Board coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Time to bet the board here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, then we can kind of finish up the Cardinal conversation we just had. Right now, Marsh, the standings are? I think we had a rough night, didn't we?
Well, you guys did. I didn't.
Oh, Marshy!
No, he hit. Yeah. Shohei had like 4 runs.
I am in the lead with 2 points.
Attaboy, Marsh.
You and Carey are at 1, and Jamie is at 0.
Dodgers won, didn't cover. Bunch of huge Asolis there. Jamie already gave his pick. It was some power play, right?
Yeah, it was Nathan McKinnon power play point.
Okay. Go ahead, Carey.
Give me the Golden State Warriors on the money line.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Is it me?
No, you just skipped over me. I'm in first place. You did that on purpose.
I don't know what was worse, the fact that I threw it over to you
and
you just said it, or
I didn't realize.
Give me Golden State.
Oh, you are terrible.
No, he won't do it.
He's doing it.
Give me Golden State minus whatever they are. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I ain't doing that. All right. I'm looking at tonight's Blues game, and I'm going to go with the over 5.5 tonight. Over 5.5 at minus 118.
All right, my turn?
Yeah.
Give me the Golden State Warriors on the money line.
What are they at?
Minus 102.
All right. Give me the Yankees minus 126 on the money line against the Diamondbacks. Let's get those torpedo bats going, huh? All right. Then you heard Jamie's pick. All right, so we had the conversation toward the end of what's trending in the last segment. And we got a couple of texts, and it might have been tongue in cheek, but they were basically saying, you know, why are you guys talking so much Cardinals? Nobody's showing up at the games anyways. And Marsh, you had asked whether or not there's a correlation. I think it's really important, guys, and I'm interested in your thoughts too. I think it's really important that we separate Cardinals baseball down at the ballpark from the fans that will watch the games and consume some of the games at the ballpark. If you buy season tickets, that's a large investment that you're making. You're going consistently.
Yeah.
Which means you're also paying for parking and concessions and all that. That's a different level of fan. I'm not saying they're better or worse. I'm just saying that's a financial commitment that you're making. The fact that people aren't like buying tickets to go down to the ballpark, which again is not really not even financial, not only financial, but you're talking about giving up your time too, where you're committed. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the park. I've spent the money on these tickets. I'm going. That's much different than saying, you know what? I'll just watch the games at home. If they're down 10 in the third inning, I don't have to watch. I'm done. So I think we really need to separate what we're talking about when it comes to the paying product or paying for the product when it comes to season tickets and fans' interest in the Cardinals. It's easier to turn on the TV when they're 4-2 and say, all right, I'll buy into this, as opposed to going to the ballpark and filling the ballpark and having the majority of your fans paying for the product outside of just the TV subscription.
Yeah, I think we talk about the Cardinals because even if they aren't performing well, which 2 years ago it was really bad, and last year it was meh. This year it's been better. There have been signs of life.
Yes.
Where at times last year it didn't feel like it was much life. Felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And now, at least now, you feel like maybe they figured some things out. It's only 6 games. You were almost out of there against the Angels. You almost got swept, but you didn't. You found a way to win that game, which I think is more than you could say for the last couple of years. And so we talk about the Cardinals because they're the damn St. Louis Cardinals.
Right.
Right? What do you mean? It's only one franchise that got more championships. And I don't care when the last one was. Doesn't matter. There's a history. There's a tradition. There is an expectation. And the reason why people tune in is because they expect to see that product when they watch the Cardinals. They expect to see players playing the game the right way. And I feel like over the last few years, we missed some of that. And you blame the manager, you blame the hitting coach, you ran one out of town. You blamed everybody that could be blamed. You blame Mo, he's just doing his job. He's signing who he can, doing the best he can with what he got.
Yeah.
But you hate him, right? Hate him so much he says, I'm going to quit this fast lane job. Oh, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to be here. I'm just not going to be here much longer.
Oh.
I'm sure that's what he says. I'm sure you don't think Mo cusses the fans out under his breath? You don't think? Are you kidding me? When he's meeting people, he's like, this fast lane guy. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, tell me how much I've ruined your life. Yeah, go ahead.
Lane. You get out of here, my fast lane face. Oh, good to see you again. I'm sure he does.
Do you think the majority of the people that actually meet Mo are nice to him?
Probably, because most times people say things online or to their friends that they would never say in someone's face. We get that on the text line every day. You're an idiot. I'm right here. You can tell me.
JK, love the show.
Someone did call us an idiot today, and I texted back. I said, we know we are. So you're going to have to come up with a better chirp than that.
Yeah, nice. And
LOL, though. I put LOL at the end.
That means everything's okay.
Yeah, no, that meant it was fine. Yeah, it was just I was playing around.
Anything in return?
Oh, I didn't check. I just sent it. And
that was even better. Leave him on red.
Yeah.
Leave him on red.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it.
Dismissed.
Just didn't think enough to respond to it.
Oh, Carey.
I saw it. Just didn't have to respond. That's how much I think of it.
Were they specific? Why we're idiots? Just all-encompassing, you're an idiot.
No, somebody said earlier, we don't know anything about baseball, and it shows.
Well, I mean, we know.
That's awfully pretentious.
Baseball, there's 9 players on the field.
Yep. 9 innings.
You know?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You have one player on the other team that's batting. You have a couple umpires or few umpires out on the field. In fact, they bring out more umpires during the postseason.
They do that.
When
they call it the foul pole, when in actuality, if it hits it, it's fair.
Right.
It's weird. Should be called the fair pole.
Very true.
You know?
Is it weird that whenever we get those type of texts, it's clear you guys don't know anything about baseball. I actually think of you guys have seen Good Will Hunting, right?
I don't recall it.
Okay.
With Robin Williams.
Yes.
And Matt Damon.
And Ben Affleck, yeah.
Is it Ben Affleck?
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
Oh,
both. Ben Affleck is
Robin Williams not in there.
Robin Williams is absolutely.
No,
he's the therapist.
Well, you're trying to confuse me.
I'm not.
Somebody's trying to confuse me.
I told you.
I think you confused yourself, buddy.
You said, yeah, Robin Williams. Anyways, there's the math teacher in that movie. I forget the actor's name, but the math teacher is trying to get Will to basically realize his potential or whatever. And I often think that when somebody texts in those comments about you guys don't know anything about baseball, I think of that teacher who was quite arrogant, but yet he was on his knees when Matt Damon Follow me on this one, CD. I know you haven't seen the movie in a while.
No,
Was
been a
Matt
while.
Damon?
When Matt Damon
was he struggling throwing the ball down to second?
No.
Oh,
lit the math problem on fire. Said, you know how easy this is for me. There's somebody always smarter than you. Is my point.
Ah, there you go.
So
maybe they're smarter than us. Maybe
you may know that you're smarter than us. Just realize there's a lot of people smarter than you.
Oh, don't say that.
So I don't know if you should feel comfortable with that. You know what I mean? Like,
some people think they're the smartest person.
Yeah,
and ever, Bob. Now, those people are probably not as smart as they think.
Yeah,
actually, a dumbass thing to think. If you want to be honest about it.
Very true.
You know.
Droid FX brings up a good point. Tickets have been cheap as hell, too. They have $5 beers all game in the Budweiser Terrence. And Droid FX brings up a really good point. You know it's different, though. You know it's a bigger commitment if you're going down to the ballpark. Now also get 35 to 40,000 people doing it, too. Even if the tickets are cheap, you're still going down there. It's still more of an investment to you. And... You know, what are you laughing at?
Text from the 573. You guys know absolutely nothing about Goodwill Hunting.
I admitted that. No, I don't.
All right. It's been fun today.
The same person, though, texted in, not liking the team and not supporting the front office are two different things.
That was my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on the same page.
But you don't know anything about baseball.
Hell no. Hell no.
Or Goodwill Hunting.
No, I do. I'm the only one that does. You think that Robin Williams is and isn't in there.
And I thought Matt Damon
was doing some bad things.
I didn't think anything. I didn't know.
I saw your face.
I did. Yeah. You saw me.
Let's wrap up this show. Next on 101 ESPN.
Circa Sports Illinois. Sports betting at your fingertips, the way it should be.
It is so important to hire the right contractor. The Collier & Thompson team cares about the work that they produce. For them, it's more than a job. They take great pride in the work that they've done over the years. Collier & Thompson's core values are summed up by simply doing the right thing for the customers. May cost them a little extra time and dollars, but that's what sets them apart. Anytime you need any part of your home redone, Collier & Thompson should be the people that you think about. You say, where is it? Well, it's Collier & Thompson on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Come home to quality online at collierandthompson.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. All the podcasts, of course, brought to you by Schaefer Door Company. Carey, what'd you learn today?
I learned that some people think we are complete idiots, but they still love the show.
Yeah, called our friends and family.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Marshy, what'd you learn today?
I learned that you love 2-on-1s.
He does. He said it.
You like 2-on-1s. I thought you were more of a clear the zone type of guy, but apparently you like a good odd man rush, a good 2-on-1.
Yeah. I did say that.
You did.
I learned that Carey only hears what he wants to hear.
You just not learned that?
No, but I was reminded of it today when I feel like we're all agreeing about the same thing on Ivan Herrera and what the lineup could look like, but you kept turning it into an argument.
Was it just me?
No, it was Marsh, too.
Oh, okay. You just pointed me out.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool.
You were the catalyst. You're the main one.
All right.
But no, it was basically you two. You two hear what you want to hear. Then you throw it back in our faces. It's a skill set that a lot of people have. And those people are toxic.
You're not wrong about that. Now, truer words have never been spoken on these airwaves. I got to tell you, brother, that's spot on.
I'm going to say something. It's going to go in your brain, bounce around your childhood, and come out as something else.
Yep.
Marshy?
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I was actually having this conversation with my mother the other day about where my attitude, pettiness, maybe lack of patience comes from.
What? I don't feel like you're petty at all.
Well, that's because I don't act on it, right? I come up with all these different ideas. But anyways, we were having that conversation, and it led me to wonder, where did your aggression come from? Did it come from your dad or your mom? Or was it born when you were born?
Born when you were born is a good one.
Probably my mother. She can get, she's got a lot of rage. She's also a Jets fan, so she's got to have a lot of rage. Yeah, probably my mother. My dad will tune you up too, but it takes a little while. So I'll say mom 1. Dad 2. Carey?
I was probably born when I was born. I like that. Just came out.
Yeah.
Angry. I don't know.
Not all the time, though.
Nah, I smile a lot.
Hey, you damn right do. You laugh a lot, too.
Yeah, I do.
Grant Francis Fan Club was a pretty good show today. Until Jamie left.
Wow.
That was a
sandwich for sure.
That was like an open-faced crab sandwich. Yeah. Because he never came back with a compliment.
Nope.
That was an open-faced crab sandwich.
You deal with this as you please.
Yep. Wow.
Okay. Interesting.
If you came here to hurt our feelings, think you just did.
Justin always texts this in, and I love when he does. We will rally around the fast lane, and we will have great radio.
Yes.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Grant Francis Fan Club. Little nugget, by the way. Not a snugget, but a nugget. GIF, which some people say GIF or GIF, is an acronym for Graphics Interchange Format. So it is a hard G. I know the guy who invented it said it should be pronounced like a J, GIF, but he isn't a native English speaker, and frankly, that's stupid.
That's what I said.
GIF.
GIF?
Well, he's saying GIF.
I think he's saying GIF. Like
hard.
G, like give. Like grab.
Hard G.
Give.
Give.
GIF.
GIF.
Yeah.
Okay. Call it whatever the hell you want. How about that?
You call it. Yep.
And speaking of GIF Smith, another mention on the show today.
Yeah.
GIF
It's got to be at least like
love us.
10. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know who that is.
Station.
We didn't know either.
Look him up.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did.
I think Carey was the one in the Gauntlet that day, and I remember going, this can't be right. This human being, this is not a human being.
I thought that was a fake name.
Yeah.
It was like somebody
Smith.
setting me up.
Right.
Never heard of him.
Never.
Nope.
I'll get
He's
a
a coach.
text from the 636. Hey, guys, I'm a 16-year-old doing a project on radio shows. I listen to you guys, and I will be making a project on today's show.
Thank you.
Could you imagine that? Here's what I learned.
Listening to the Fast Lane.
These guys are idiots. Well, can we see the project when it's done? I'd be interested.
Yeah. Be great.
That would be nice.
Come on down to the studio. Present it to us.
Oh, man. Just got a text from Veiled Prophet. What about giraffe? Pronounced Tao? Giraffe starts with a G. Giraffe.
Giraffe.
Not go-raff. That's
Right.
something different.
GIF.
Giraffe.
Yeah.
GIF.
It's a G.
GIF.
I gotta go back to.
So is it
call
GIF?
it whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say GIF. I've always said GIF.
I thought it was GIF. What do we
Be
know?
whatever the hell you want it to be.
Well, apparently we don't know anything, especially about baseball. You ready for the 3 stars of the day?
Sure.
It's time for the Fast Lane's 3 Stars of the Day. Presented by Circus Sports Illinois. Sports betting the way it should be.
All right, gentlemen, our 3rd star of the day goes out to the .69 points that Jake briefly had before they were taken away, and for good reason.
Yep.
But
He didn't earn them.
he did not. We got to give those .69 points some love, even though they didn't really count.
Yeah, they were removed quickly.
Yeah.
Our 2nd star of the day goes out to the smell of penguins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Pass on that too.
Yeah. But our 1st star of the day, of course, goes out to stereotypes.
Stereotypes. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We got Blues hockey, baby. Blues go for 11 straight wins right here on 101 ESPN. Pre-game starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop at 7 o'clock on the Blues Radio Network with Alex Ferrario. He's filling in again for Chris Kerber. So it'll be Alex. It'll be Joey Vitale. Again, puck drops at 7, but the pregame is on in less than 5 minutes. For our guy, Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, for Kerry Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. Blues hockey next. See you.